why we feel the way we do when we watch those older summer flicks. And You're Killing Me, Smalls. Today, contributor Donna Ferris spoke to the cast of a movie that defines the season, The Sandlot. We found out why it still resonates today. And to close out our special show, we've got our friend Chris Witherspoon, founder and CEO of Pop Viewers. He's counting down the most nostalgic summer movie scenes of all time. Stay with us for all of that. It'll be great. To kick things off, here's a deep dive into how watching nostalgic films makes us feel, especially during the heat of summer.
Summer in itself is a great example of a trigger for nostalgia because it connotes many of the attributes that accompany nostalgia, such as longing for the carefreeness, the leisure of childhood. But when you watch something like a movie that's set at summer camp, you've got so many stimuli there that are reminding us that in our hectic, busy lives, should we not occasionally take a break?
So, either of you by any chance know how to play poker? Yeah, never played it before.
Roosevelt, how's that lanyard coming?
Horrible.
Film is a really good example of a medium that has all of the triggers for different kinds of sensory experiences, visual, auditory, such as the music in a film. And so you have all these varieties of sensory stimuli that help you to mentally transport yourself in two ways, by the way. One, when you're just remembering the past, you're transporting yourself back to that time. An interesting finding recently showed that when people just reminisce nostalgically, they even feel a little more healthy and vibrant, and they have more vitality. Why? Because when you transport yourself back, you're feeling a little bit of the feelings you felt when you were younger. Nostalgic films, especially for looking back to your beloved favorite childhood movies, those were a source of great comfort.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls. Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts.
Their time! Up there! Down here, it's our time! It's our time down here!
In fact, in film, for example, we believe from the research data that there are characters in movies that serve as surrogates for us. So when you watch a film that you loved in the past, not only are you remembering when you watched it, with whom did you watch it, the conversations you had at the time, maybe you went out to the movies with friends or what have you. But in addition to that, as you watch characters in films play out their own problems and resolve them through this vicarious resolution, you feel that hope and optimism, which is a lot like the happy ending of many stories that we've seen throughout our lives, right? If you wanted to log them according to seasons of the year, for instance, summer is a great time. And what operates as a nostalgic film, it could be something like Star Wars, Episode 1, for a generation who saw that for the first time, either as children, teenagers, or young adults. And to some extent, it's transporting them not just to the film and the enjoyment of the film, but also it gives someone the ability to reflect upon, what did it mean to me when I saw that as a kid, and now what would I think of it now? So sometimes when we rewatch an old film, we're comparing our understanding as full-fledged adults, or our understanding now that we've lived through so much, with what we thought when we first saw it. Also, for the elderly today, they might think back to the great summer films that were beach movies. You know, the parties on the beach and playing volleyball on the beach. When you think about transportation mentally through a film, now you have added onto it that you might transport yourself to somebody else's past or to somebody else's experience, not necessarily your own. So fiction can be enjoyed and benefited from, even in terms of nostalgia. For instance, a lot of nostalgic films incorporate within the plot or within the character lines, characters remembering back to their past.
I can still recall our last summer. I still see it all. Walks along the Seine laughing in the rain.
I was the last one to move away, but when I did, the Sandlot was still there.
And then when you watch that, then that prompts you to sort of mentally transport yourself with that character back to their past as well. So it's very rich. Film is a very rich medium.
Our thanks to Professor Christine Batchel for sharing all of her findings and insights with us, a little better understanding of why those films make us feel so good. Still to come, even more nostalgia and more fun. Donna Ferris's chat with the Sandlot stars who played Yaya and Squints.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive.
Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes. This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in York. The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
Refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to our Pop Start Plus special all about nostalgic summer movies. Now, if you're a 90s kid, you'll remember the 1993 release of a movie about a ragtag pack who loved playing ball. And it changed how we think about summer forever. Today, contributor Donna Ferris spoke to two of the stars from The Sandlot, Chauncey Leopardi, who played Squints, and Marty York, who played Yaya. They shared the responses they still get about the movie set during a summer back in 1962.
Was the summer you filmed The Sandlot the best summer of your lives?
It was for sure the best summer of my life.
Yeah.
I don't think anything, compares to it since then. And I think we just had a blast. It was summer camp for like 2 or 3 months that we filmed over the summer, and definitely the best.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It's hard to beat. Obviously, I love my family, and I wouldn't want my wife to think that, my 11-year-old summer was the best summer of my life. But it was pretty awesome, hanging out with friends and having that experience, and then getting to share it with the rest of the world forever. It's just it's a pretty amazing thing.
This film represents the best of summer, the 4th of July celebrations, the carnivals, kids playing ball, the s'mores, you name it. There's so many different elements. Why do you think The Sandlot is a film that has defined summertime for a lot of people?
It takes people back to an era of the United States where kids went outside and they played, and when the sun went down, that's when they went home.
I want you to get out into the fresh air and make some friends. Run around, scrape your knees, get dirty.
You had adventures during the day.
It'll be 30 years next year, first of all. How does that feel for you guys?
It's amazing. I mean, anytime you do a film, you never know what the results are going to be. But to still be here talking about this 30 years later, and to see it still affecting people's lives for the better that's kind of why you're in the arts. It's the reason that you want to do. That's what you set out when you have passion about a project, is to hope that you get one that changes things forevermore. So it's a blessing. And we appreciate all the love and support that we've gotten over the years.
What were your favorite scenes to film for each of your characters?
I loved all of the baseball stuff. Obviously, was a lot of fun. When we played the other team, it was a blast. Filming the whole chase scene, we did that for 2 weeks. So just the dog chasing Benny and all the different stuff. That was a lot of fun as well. I think that there's something to find that was cool about everything. And even in the treehouse stuff, that treehouse was amazing. This is when they really built sets for film still. There was no green screens or anything like that. So that was all like real craftsmanship. A carpenter, the construction guys on set actually built those sets. So they were so cool and like so in depth, Mr. Myrtle's house. And it was a really cool time in filmmaking because you still had all of the crafts really showcasing their work, whereas now maybe things are a little bit more reliant on computer generated software and stuff like that. So it was a cool time to kind of see them, fabricate this really cool film and these really cool sets.
Obviously, my favorite scene was going over the fence to come face to face with the beast and being on that crane. And it's really cool because, back then, kids could do their own stunts, which would never happen nowadays. And just like a lot of the stuff that I didn't even see till the final picture came out. The 4th of July scene, we filmed that with just literally lights and gels that they put in front to make it look like fireworks were going off. When we filmed that, it didn't seem that iconic to me until you put Ray Charles to it, until you put the fireworks in the sky. And when we saw the final product, we were like, wow, like that really that's an amazing scene. So it's just movie magic.
God done shed his grace on thee.
What kind of memories do people, tell you that they have that are related to the Sandlot? What do the fans come up to you and say?
Everybody that relates to Squints that has the glasses or I get a lot of the pictures and the photos. Sometimes as growing up, having glasses is always like something that people could be a little reserved about or feel like they get picked on a little bit. So it's cool to have that cool character that people can relate to, that makes them feel like this is a superpower, not the opposite.
How do you think the Sandlot has helped empower young people to feel more included, be more inclusive, and, feel okay to embrace their differences?
It's awesome because this is a bunch of kids of all shapes, colors, and sizes. They're all different. They all have their little thing. And, the main character is a kid that's filling out a place and coming from somewhere else and really not fitting in. And it starts off with like his struggle of trying to connect with his stepfather and trying to connect with these kids in this new neighborhood. And it takes a guy like Benny, who is obviously a very strong character and an amazing baseball player and a total star, to just say, leave him alone. We need an extra guy, and this guy's gonna be it, So it's about including people regardless of, what the masses feel. So I think it has a lot to say about, real American values, because that's what America is. It's a melting pot of different cultures and different people that find common ground to create a better life for themselves.
Really cool to hear from those two. We're going to share more from them after the break, including what it was like to film that famous pool scene featuring Squints and Wendy Peppercorn.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
News is happening now. Look at what's making headlines around the world.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
This is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
This is so healthy.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does. Yes. Start today.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to our special episode of Pop Start Plus. Let's pick back up with Donna Ferrison's conversation with two stars from The Sandlot, Marty York and Chauncey Leopardi, who spoke about that very pivotal pool scene and the impact it's had on young kids today.
Chauncey, you were talking about, Wendy Peppercorn and that pool scene, which is so iconic when your character almost drowns and then gets saved by the lifeguard that everyone has a crush on. What do you remember from shooting that scene?
God, he looks like a dead fish.
It was really cold. It was a really hot summer, but during the time that we shot the pool scene, it had dipped down into like the 70s, and we were shooting early mornings for the light, and it was freezing cold. So in a lot of those scenes, you can see us like shivering in the pool. I know it was like a big anticipation for me leading up to that. I kept asking the director, is today the day? Is today the day? You know what I mean? It was my first kissing scene, so
Wow.
Pretty exciting.
That is exciting. That's amazing. Just as we talked about earlier too, so much that has happened, or the emotions that are evoked from The Sandlot, translate into real life as well. On the Today Show, Hoda recently interviewed the three boys who had saved the dad who became unconscious underwater in their pool. It's an amazing story. They performed CPR on him, saved his life, and they credited learning CPR through watching The Sandlot and through that specific scene.
Now, who took a CPR class? Raise your hand. Nobody? But you did know, because what was one of your favorite movies?
The Sandlot.
What was your reaction to that news?
That's just incredible. Here we are 30 years later, and something that someone saw that we did 30 years ago saved their father's life. I mean, it makes you want to tear up because it's such a beautiful thing. And, wherever we get the information from, it's great, So to be the force that helped them do that for their father, I'll never forget it.
Every time I come across a fan of The Sandlot, they always talk about it in a way that, they feel so comforted and cozy when watching it. It brings them back to a different time. Why do you think people feel so comforted when watching The Sandlot?
It's timeless. The way David Mickey Evans, the writer and director, shot it, he told the DP, Tony Richmond, he told him, I want it to look like Kodak chromatic film. So that's like an old, very pop arty type of film from the 60s. And he said, I want it to look like that. And I think because of the setting, had he have done it in the 90s when we shot it and placed it present day, I don't think it would have lasted and stood the test of time. It's like a Bel Air. It's like a 57 Chevy, It's something that the lines on it are going to be clean forever. And no matter what, you're always going to get a nostalgic feeling when you go see these old cars at these car shows, and just a storied time in American history. And because it's just frozen in time, I think that it stands the test of time, because it is a time capsule, like Marty said. It takes you to a happy place where, good or bad, we felt like everything was a little bit simpler.
Thank you to Marty and Chauncey for hanging out with us. Still to come, we've queued up some of the most nostalgic summer movie scenes of all time. Do we got any Parent Trap fans out there? Stick with us.
The day's biggest political stories, with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
This is so healthy.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does. Start today.
the day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
This is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Welcome back to our special episode of Pop Start Plus. We are diving into everything you need to know about nostalgic summer movies. And who better to guide us along than Chris Witherspoon? He is the founder and CEO of Pop Viewers, and he's about to take us on a lovely trip down memory lane with some of the most nostalgic summer movie scenes ever.
Is there anything that beats the warm weather, the long sun-filled days and fun that comes with summertime? Whether you went to camp or hung out by the pool, spent time with family and friends, or had 7 jobs like me, summer was always filled with terrific memories of growing up. Unfortunately, we'll never be kids again, but luckily, we'll always have movies to turn to that transport us back to those days, no matter what decade you grew up in. Let's count down as we watch some of the best nostalgic summer movie scenes of all time. First up, Weekend at Bernie's. It's an absolute classic. Now grab your sunblock and flip-flops because you'll be wanting to enjoy a weekend at the beach after watching this one. In it, Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy play friends who are invited for a weekend at their boss's opulent beach house. Lots of shenanigans ensue that ultimately lead to their boss, Bernie's, death. But to avoid ruining their weekend, Richard and Larry pretend he's still alive. Let's take a look at the clip.
You're probably right.
Get it together, Bernie.
Here we go, shoot, move it over a little bit, okay, baby?
I don't understand why we have to move him, Reg. Oh, don't ask me any questions, Larry. Just move him. Oh.
Here we go.
Ready? I can't believe I'm touching a dead body.
Here's your boss. Come on. Let's go. Whoa.
Oh, Bernie.
Oh, what a kidder, huh?
Oh, Bernie,
you're all just darling. Come on.
That's what you call some dead weight.
Come on, let's go. Come on, he's crazy. Here we go.
Wait, is there an award for playing the best dead guy? If so, Terry Kaiser deserves it. If you're looking to laugh like there's no tomorrow, add this film to your summer watch list. Next up, one of almost everyone's favorites, The Notebook. Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams killed these roles as lovers who were always meant to be together. Who could forget the moment when Noah and Allie reunited after 7 years apart? Did he just pick that boat up with his bare hands? I think he did.
It wasn't over for me. I waited for you for 7 years. Now it's too late.
I wrote you 365 letters. I wrote you every day for a year.
You wrote me?
Yes. It wasn't over. It still isn't over.
Ooh. That's a kiss right there. Ooh. Talk about a hot girl summer. Even all that rain couldn't cool those two down. On to another fun one, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now, if you watch this as a teen, then you got tons of ideas on how to spend the perfect day playing hooky. Matthew Broderick stars, of course, as Ferris Bueller, and the movie starts a month before Ferris's high school graduation. Ferris ends up at a museum, a baseball game, a fancy restaurant, you name it. One of the most hilarious moments was when his teacher realizes he's missing from class. Let's watch this clip.
Anderson.
Here.
Bueller. Bueller. Bueller.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night.
Now she can lie.
Pretty serious.
That's a good lie.
Thank you, Simone.
No problem whatsoever.
Fry.
Oh my God. Ben Stein's boring, monotone delivery gets me every time. And P.S., find yourself a coworker that will be your alias next time you want to ditch work on a summer Friday. Everybody needs one of those. Now, Clueless is one of those timeless movies following a group of popular high school friends. If you didn't know, it's a modernization of Jane Austen's Emma, and it's got an amazing cast. Alicia Silverstone and Paul Rudd, and of course, the late, great Brittany Murphy. Just to name a few. Check out this scene where Cher, played by Silverstone, makes the case for not participating in PE class.
Earth to Cher! Come in, Cher!
Oh my God. Miss Stoger, I would just like to say that physical education in this school is a disgrace. I mean, standing in
gym
line
outfits.
for 40 minutes is hardly
Different
aerobically
outfits.
effective. I doubt I've worked off the calories in a stick of carefree gum.
Come on, Cher. I feel like in this scene, Cher could have just said, as if, and been done with it. Clueless does take place throughout all 4 seasons, but real talk, those Beverly Hills vibes will have you feeling like you're on vacation. Another fun summer love story with lots of dancing. You guessed it, Dirty Dancing. Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze play Baby and Johnny, and the two fall in love after being paired as dance partners. Now, one of the most iconic movie lines ever came from the scene where Johnny proclaims his love for Baby before the movie's final epic dance performance. Let's watch.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Tell him.
Sorry about the disruption, folks. But I always do the last dance of the season. But this year, somebody told me not to. So I'm gonna do my kind of dancing with a great partner.
Sit down.
It's not only a terrific dancer,
Dirty Dance.
somebody who's taught me that there are people willing to stand up for other people no matter what it costs them.
The best part's yet to come. I am declaring it now. Nobody puts Baby in the corner is one of the most iconic movie lines of all time. Try to tell me it's not. Alas, if only all of our summers could end with a sultry summer dance routine. And next up, one of my favorites, Poetic Justice. Janet Jackson, Regina King, and Tupac Shakur gave legendary performances in this film. They play friends who road trip to Oakland, California, and basically fall in love along the way. Poetic Justice is another one of those films that will definitely have you crying and laughing, but I love this scene where the friends crashed a random family barbecue. Let's take a look.
I don't think so.
My cousin. Look at my family over here. My cousins. What's up, cousin? How you doing, boy? Cousin. What's up, cousin? What's up? I ain't seen you in I don't know where. Yeah.
Janet Jackson knows how to give a good stank face, and sometimes all you gotta say is cousin. And you guys, I'm pleading the fifth on if I've ever crashed a barbecue for a burger. Please don't judge me. And last, but certainly not least, I doubt you've ever gone a summer without watching this one, The Parent Trap. The remake stars Lindsay Lohan and tells the story of twin sisters who meet and realize they are really sisters at summer camp. The moment they see each other and realize how much they look alike is priceless. Let's take a look. A new camp champ, come on.
They look alike.
Those freckles get me every time.
Why is everyone staring?
Do we have Kleenex handy?
See what?
Please. I need them. This part gets me every time.
Resemblance between you and me?
Oh my God, every time that movie gets me. You know, I watched this movie so many times as a kid, and you couldn't tell me Lindsay Lohan didn't have a twin sister in real life. It's definitely one to add to the rotation, y'all. Okay, we just gave you a taste of a few surefire summer flicks. Now I know we outside again, but with this summer heat, nothing beats a good old movie night. We hope you have a blast watching or rewatching some of our favorite picks.
So many great recommendations. Our thanks to Chris for bringing them to us and for giving us all a boost with your terrific reactions. We should mention you can download the Pop Viewers app from the App Store. That was our Pop Start Plus Nostalgic Summer Movie Special here on Today All Day. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you had as much fun as we did revisiting some of our favorite films from the past. It's been a pleasure to bring them to you. Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Vicki Nguyen. Thanks for joining me for Consumer Confidential Back to School Safety Guide. We're going to help you kick off a successful year, from navigating the social scene to the great debate. Is your child ready for a phone? We'll also have an important lesson on how to stay safe on campus, especially if your student is away from home for the first time. In just a few minutes, we'll talk to Dr. Sue Varma on dealing with the anxiety of returning to school. But first, school safety is on the minds of many. We looked into some of the most effective measures. We aren't going to give away any secrets that could put your kids in danger, but we will show you some of the safety tactics used in schools today to potentially save lives. Nearly 50 million kids in the U.S. are headed back to class, and across the country, districts are approaching security differently. In Indiana, Jay County schools have gun safes on each campus, where trained staff have access with just a thumbprint. Clinton Public Schools in Mississippi added a fourth police officer. And in Las Vegas, El Dorado High School is set for a $26 million security upgrade with cameras, single-point entry, and perimeter fencing. I'm here at White Plains High School in New York for an exclusive look at their campus security system. And with me is John LaPlaca. He's a consultant who works with schools across the nation. Let's talk about the security here. What's the first thing a visitor would notice?
So as we approach the building, we're going to have a single locked point of entry for visitors. If they want to gain access to the building, the first step in the process would be they'd buzz in on the intercom system, which would be answered by security personnel inside. Hi there, it's John LaPlaca from Altaris. I'm here to visit the main office. So I've announced myself, and the security person has now given us access to the building, has buzzed us into the vestibule.
But that's not it. We're stopped by a second set of doors where security scans our driver's license to cross-check against the sex offender registry and local banned persons lists. Okay, John, so now we're inside the school. What other security measures are in place here?
So visible throughout the building, you'll see cameras. It also gives law enforcement the ability in an emergency situation to look at the cameras.
What about the classrooms themselves?
They have electronic locks, which will actually automatically lock in an emergency situation. Some of the best returns on investment for safety and security are things that cost nothing at all.
Low-cost signs to help people provide 911 with their location and help responders outside find them. Oh, okay. We took part in an actual lockdown drill where teachers served as students. Assistant Principal Guy Vitiello, wearing this bright orange shirt, serves as a trespasser on campus. I'm in the classroom with teacher Daniel Furry, who shows us what happens when someone triggers the alarm.
I'm going to activate the phone.
Okay.
Students get to the safe zone. Students get to the safe zone.
So you instruct your students to go back to the safe zone?
Lockdown. Lock the doors. Stay away from the windows.
Across campus, the alert can be seen and heard from these LED boxes. Furry is trained to quickly scan for nearby students before securing the room. So you go outside, make sure that there are no students in the hallway, or you grab them to get into the safe zone?
Correct.
Okay.
Come in, get into the safe zone in the corner there. Lock down, go in the room.
In an actual lockdown, only law enforcement can enter the building. Today, school resource officers from White Plains PD enter through a back door closest to our trespasser. Now, when you close that door, Mr. Furry, does it lock automatically?
It does lock automatically.
Police didn't want to reveal their tactical response, but told us the priority is to go straight to the trespasser and confront the security risk.
White Plains Police, can you tell us why you're in the building?
Inside, everyone remains in lockdown. Only police can unlock the doors and let them out. As you stand here in the corner, what kind of goes through your mind?
Thinking about the students, and how they're feeling and how important it is to reassure them that when they're here, they're safe, that we have systems for them to ensure their safety and their comfort, and then reassuring them afterwards.
White Plains Police Chief Joe Castelli says his department holds multiple training drills like this every year. These are decisions officers have to make in a split second. How important is training to that muscle memory?
The more we do it, the more we will react in a crisis situation, in a high-stress situation. The time to train is not the time when the crisis is going on.
The chief says everyone in the community can make the difference. See something, say something.
look, we want to help anybody who may be in distress.
Superintendent Joe Ricca says planning, practice, and communication is the critical first layer of security to keeping any campus safe.
At the core of any strong security plan is always going to be the training.
And joining me now is board-certified psychiatrist Dr. Sue Varma to help us ease into the school year and eliminate some of the anxiety that comes with a new year. Welcome, Dr. Varma. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Help us understand, what are some of the conversations that we parents can have with our kids to ease some of their worries?
So, school safety is number one on everyone's mind, and the child may say, like, how can I feel safe with all that's happening in the world? And I think it's really important for parents to have age-appropriate conversations. Depending on the kid, you may want to keep it very simple if we're talking about 5 to 7-year-olds, and older kids may want a little bit more information. But really having open-ended questions where you leave it to them to say, what are you worried about? So we're not projecting our fears and anxieties onto them, and then providing some level of support and reassurance to say, it's going to be okay, we'll figure this out. Because really that's what kids want to hear at the end of the day, that it's all going to be okay.
What are some action statements that we can use if a kid says, I'm kind of worried about my safety at school?
Yes.
What is something you can tell them that's concrete?
Yes. So I would say, listen, let's have a safety plan. I know that the idea of kids having cell phones is a big topic, and maybe we can talk about that another day, but if the kid is age appropriate, like somewhere between 9, 10, 11, I want to give my kids phones as they're nearing that age. So say that you can contact me when you're in school if you don't feel safe, if the school allows for it. Or for example, if you're going to an event and you're at a parade, to say if we got separated at the parade, where's the meeting point? What is your address? Do you know your phone number? Because a lot of young kids don't know. Or can you look for a familiar face in the parade or the event that you're going to? So having very concrete tips, and to say, I'm going to the PTA meeting, I'm going to find out at school what is the plan, the safety plan, and we're going to get our local legislators involved, we'll get the local police department involved. So giving them some structure and confidence that you've got things figured out, or you're going to figure them out with them.
That makes sense. And giving them actual things to do and giving them knowledge, information that you gather.
Yes.
That's super helpful. What are some of the other back to school anxieties that kids have? Because it's been a summer and maybe they're worried about their friends or just a new teacher, a new school.
Yes, all of that, all of the above, like you said. One thing is separation anxiety. Young kids are going to feel like, I've spent the whole summer with you and now we're not going to be together. I know the older kids, the teens and tweens, may be like, I'm happy to peace out, right?
Right.
So the younger kids, that separation, if you can create a few moments in the morning to say, listen, we're going to have everything ready, we'll have their lunches packed, let's just watch some videos for a couple of minutes, let's laugh, let's watch something on YouTube or TikTok, whatever feels family friendly to you. The other anxieties are fitting in. Body image issues are a big deal nowadays as young people are on social media and feeling like they're not,
especially for young girls,
absolutely not living up to standards. So finding them activities that make them feel body confident. Sports are a great way, keeping kids active throughout the summer so that they feel a sense of agency over their body, finding them clothes that fit if that's an issue, peer pressure, and discussing a lot of this and recognizing that it's going to be evolving in real time, but keeping the door open, keeping interested, asking them questions. What are you watching? What are you doing? What are you worried about?
That's all such great actionable advice. Dr. Sue Varma, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we talked about it there. The great debate coming up. Is your child ready for a phone? Plus, we'll look at the other gadgets your kids may need, which include laptops that are right for your family. Later, College Safety 101, the do's and don'ts of college life. Consumer Confidential, coming right back.
You open the door for so many people. I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something. These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes. This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in York. The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
Refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes.
Start today.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
These days, it's known as the Great Debate. When are kids ready to have a phone? Parents want to be able to stay in touch with their children throughout the day, but owning a phone can open up a different set of headaches. Here's NBC's Kate Snow.
The pandemic changed everything, including the way kids learned and spent their free time. According to Common Sense Media, screen use for teens and tweens has grown by 17% since 2019, with kids 8 to 12 clocking 5.5 hours a day and 13 to 18-year-olds logging nearly 9 hours a day on devices. Now many parents are pumping the brakes. For mom of 4, Adriana Stacy, the family policy has always been firm.
We don't buy smartphones for our children.
She's a psychiatrist who's seen the effects of increased screen time in her practice.
I'll get a patient in my office, usually a teenager, who all of a sudden started to really struggle with anxiety and depression. Pretty much every time we can trace that back to when did you get a phone?
But her oldest, Annalise, a 10th grader, often feels left out.
It's definitely hard sometimes because I have been left out of decisions because I haven't been on a group chat or something.
It's also been a struggle in the classroom. Some of Annalise's teachers ask students to use their smartphones to do classwork.
We do feel like we're standing alone on an island.
But the island is getting bigger. A movement called Wait Until 8th encourages parents to wait until at least 8th grade to give kids smartphones. The network is 40,000 families strong, and they've seen a 25% increase in participation in the last year alone.
Parents have seen the impact of screens on kids over the past couple of years with online school and lots of social media consumption. Let's get our kids outside. Let's get our kids reading. Let's get our kids playing with other kids in real life. Let's let our kids enjoy being kids.
Research about the impact of smartphones is mixed. A large study using data from the National Institutes of Health found screen time was moderately associated with worse mental health, increased behavior problems, decreased academic performance, and poorer sleep, but also found using a smartphone or device improved friendships and connection. Dr. Jean Twangy is a professor of psychology at San Diego State and author of the book iGen.
Are we basically experimenting on our kids, not knowing what the impact of these smartphones will be long term?
All of us are basically living in a big social experiment where smartphones have taken over. In effect, we're experimenting with their brains. Hey, let's give them all a smartphone and see what happens.
Experts agree if parents are going to allow smartphones, they should be banned from the bedroom overnight, and they recommend setting time limits and parental controls. And for the growing number of parents who decide not to give their kids a smartphone at all, talk to your kids about your concerns and consider a stripped-down phone for calls and texts only. Last year, Annalise Stacy got one of those. At 15 years old, she already sees the benefits of not having a smartphone.
It's been a positive experience not growing up with one because I spent more time doing more valuable things and less time on my phone. I have better self-esteem and better social skills, and I can definitely communicate and just talk to people more.
Kate Snow, NBC News, New York.
In a recent study from the University of Texas, researchers gave people a series of tests without a smartphone near them and then with a smartphone near them. Just having that phone within reach, even though they weren't touching it, was enough of a distraction that the people didn't concentrate or do as well on their tests. So food for thought there. All right, so in addition to a phone, there is a lot of other technology that parents may want to consider. Mark Spoonhour, who is a tech expert and global editor-in-chief of Tom's Guide, is here with a look at back-to-school tech for every age. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with this. Parents who may not want to give kids a smartphone with all the bells and whistles yet, but they still want the safety and security of knowing they can get in touch with their kids. What are we looking at?
So think of this as like a smartphone training wheels.
Okay, I like it.
So the first device is the GyroBit. And the idea behind this device is being able to track your kids and know where they are. It's really light. It's $139, so fairly affordable.
Okay.
You can attach it to their backpack, their clothes. And the idea is that if your kid is coming home from school or leaving, you will get automatic notifications on your phone based on location. Yes.
Okay, and what about this guy right here, this little watch
So this is kind of like the Dick Tracy watch is making a comeback. So this is called the TikTok 4.
Okay.
It goes for $199. And unlike the Apple Watch, there's actually, not only can you make phone calls through it, but there's a 5-megapixel camera built in. So you can have video calls with grandma or whoever you like. You get to set the contacts.
Okay.
The other good thing about this watch is that with kids, a lot of people with screen time increasing, people are worried about, are my kids staying active? There's an activity tracker built in, and there's some gamification features, so your kids will want to be active.
Moving on to the next item, laptops, very pricey. What do we need to know about, the best ones to get for our kids?
Sure, so we do a lot of testing at Tom's Guide, including battery life. And what we love about the new MacBook Air M2 in particular is that it lasts for 14 hours on a charge, where we just continuously surf the web. So it does really well in that regard. It's also very well built, and we think that students are going to like the new colors, including the blue model that you see here. The performance is great, and it has a high-resolution full HD webcam built in, because a lot of us are doing more video calls with parents at home, but even interacting with our professors.
Okay, so let's move on quickly to the laptop bag. Some of them actually have locks built in.
Yeah, so this is from Mancro. It's only $26 on Amazon, and there's a couple of great features. One is that you can order one with a combination lock built in, which is really good for protecting your laptop. The other thing that you see right here is that there's a USB cable, and if you want to, you can have it snaking outwards, and there's a USB port right here. So all you have to do is put in your own portable charger. So let's say you're at class and you're running low on juice, you can charge up your phone or your laptop using your backpack.
Okay, I'm running out of time, but let's talk about these trackers. These are so important to keep track of all of your devices, right? They're made by Apple, and who else?
So this is Tile and Apple, and the best way to look at these trackers and to think about them is that one is for Apple and iPhone, and the other is for Android.
Okay, very good. And then if you are a student riding a bike, got to get a helmet. Why is this one special?
This is great because it has LEDs built in, and it gives you full visibility when you're on the road, and there's a remote control built in, so if you're riding your bike, you can actually let people know if you're about to turn left or right, and you can control that with a remote control on the handlebars or using your Apple Watch.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you real quick. 10 seconds. What's this?
Okay, so the Nest Video Doorbell is one of our favorites because it gives you a very tall aspect ratio. So not only can you see people, but packages that are at your door, which is really great for college students.
Mark Spoonhour, our tech expert. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Still to come, how to talk to kids about peer pressure. But first, College Safety 101. How to avoid becoming a target for criminals. Consumer Confidential is coming right back.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
This is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Hey, who's this?
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy. Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes.
Start today.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
College is a special time for so many young adults, but that independence also comes with new risks. So how do you avoid being a target for criminals? I went back to school for a refresher course on campus safety.
At college campuses across America, it's back to school. Each year, around 20 million U.S. students attend college. For some, it's the first time they're on their own, and safety may not be their first priority.
Fortunately, crime on college campuses has been on a steady decline for years. According to the most recent numbers in 2020, there were a reported 28,000 crimes. That's a record low, due in part to remote learning during the pandemic. But as we return to in-person classes, we're here on the campus of Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey for an important lesson on how to stay safe while in school.
Joining me is Mike Sapriconi. He has 16 years of experience as an NYPD detective and is now the president of global security firm Squad Security.
Mike, we talk about safety all the time. What do we need to know about staying safe when it comes to being on a college campus?
Being alert, paying attention, always being vigilant to what's around you, making sure you know your friends, they know where you're going, they have your telephone number, you have theirs. Always to be in touch with somebody.
And being prepared is so important.
Always being prepared.
Let me introduce you to Treasure Thomas. Hi, Treasure, come on in. She's a junior here at Fairleigh, and she's going to take you through a day in the life of a student here on campus.
Great. Nice to meet you, Treasure. Looking forward to it.
Nice to meet you, too. Her day starts when she drives to class.
Great place to park. You want to park where there's a light, so at night you know where your car is. You want to park otherwise places where there are other cars parked. And keep your key in your hand. Don't hit it 30 yards out, because then someone's going to see that you're opening the doors. When you get close to your car, hit your fob, go in your door. And as soon as you get in the door, before you start your car, lock your door.
Almost every school has campus-wide alerts, usually sent via text message.
So what should I do if I get that alert?
Well, if you're in a classroom, you should certainly be guided by your professor or your instructor. If not, you should definitely contact public safety, or if you're your RA if you have some concerns. But you should have a point of contact that you should be able to go to.
Another tip? Add the number for campus public safety in your phone. They can usually respond faster than 911. A big mistake students make at the library?
You see, you have your computer out, and you probably have your phone out on the desk, and sometimes I'm sure you've gotten up to go do something and you've left them there.
Of course.
And it's a bad idea. Theft is the #1 crime on campuses, okay? It's a crime of opportunity.
While walking around, Mike says to use the buddy system, and if no one is available, call campus public safety. They usually will provide an escort.
What if someone's making me uncomfortable and I'm nervous and I'm all by myself?
That's important. A lot of people are afraid to say anything, but you should maybe change direction. Walk to where you might see more people, and never be afraid to scream. Screaming is good. Screaming scares people, it alerts people. Emergency phone, blue light box. So important on campuses to know where they are and to know how to use them.
While touring the dorm, Mike immediately notices some security concerns, like this propped door, which Treasure says students do all the time.
Anybody comes in this dorm, that stuff is theirs. I mean, it's just so easy to take. We got to make it a little harder on them. This is great to have the sunlight come in on a beautiful day, but this can't be left like this. You're on the first floor. Good job here by locking the window. But you don't want everybody to have that easy access to see what's going on or what's in your room. Here's another thing. You have this mirror covering the peephole. It defeats the purpose of you being able to look out.
At night, always use the buddy rule. Never accept drinks from strangers, and wait until the next day to post on social media so no one can track your whereabouts.
We covered a lot of stuff today. Good luck in school in this next semester, and spread the word to all your friends.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Mike and Treasure for all those great tips. And Mike says the buddy system, it works best when you designate one person who will look for you if you don't come back to your dorm or you haven't checked in. All right, up next, dealing with tricky topics from drinking to consent. How to talk to kids about social pressure. You're watching Consumer Confidential on Today All Day.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
NBC News, streaming free now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes. This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in Europe.
The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
Refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
It's a topic parents can't afford to ignore, the social pressure and dangers your kids might face. In 2019, nearly a quarter of 14 and 15-year-olds reported having at least one alcoholic drink. And data from the CDC suggests 1 in 12 high school students experiences physical dating violence. Joining us with important insight is Dr. Danielle Dooley, a general pediatrician and former Georgetown University Health Services worker. Dr. Dooley, thank you for joining Consumer Confidential. Those numbers we just talked about, specifically with the violence, the dating violence, really alarming. What should young people keep in mind when they're going out on a date?
So I think it's really important that we equip our teenagers and young adults with the facts and the knowledge. First of all, they should know that about 8 out of 10 instances of sexual assault occur between people who know each other. So I think that's really important for them to know. We also want them to know about the different types of violence. There's physical violence, emotional violence, and sexual violence. And then lastly, we really want to start talking with our teens and young adults about what are the components of a healthy relationship. Are these relationships based on trust and honesty and independence and anger control and respect, or are they relationships based on disrespect, dishonesty, a lack of anger control, and a lack of trust?
Dr. Dooley, how should parents navigate difficult conversations on these topics like substance abuse or consent?
So first of all, just like you might have a packing list for your child's dorm or what they're going to need for their academic course loads each year, also on your list should be having this conversation with your child. And I want parents to know that they're not alone. There are a number of resources out there to help guide parents. First and most importantly is committing to having the conversation. Secondly, finding a quiet space and time in which to do it so you can really have a conversation with your child. Third, you might want to use something that's been in social media or current events as a way to open up the discussion and find out what your teenager knows. Where are they in their thinking and their knowledge about these topics? What are they seeing amongst their friends? And then finally, commit to being non-judgmental and really hearing your teen and hearing what they've been seeing and experiencing are some great ways to open this conversation and navigate these difficult topics.
And these aren't just one and done conversations, right, Dr. Dooley? Should you revisit this over time?
Absolutely. It is so important that these conversations happen repeatedly and that maybe when you have that first conversation, you really set the stage to, I hope this is the first of many conversations. You can always come and speak to me about things you may have questions about or are concerned about. And even if I don't know the answer, I will try to find the correct information or answer for you. So repeated check-ins and conversations are critical.
Thank you. I love that actual language that you're equipping parents with. What are some basic do's and don'ts when you are talking to your kids about these social dangers?
So I think some important do's are making sure you make the time and the space for the conversation, asking open-ended questions. So really trying to let your child or young adult tell you what they think or what they know or what they've seen, rather than asking questions that are just going to lead to yes or no answers. I also think that parents shouldn't be afraid to communicate their own values and expectations around substance abuse and sexual activity. And I think some don'ts are, don't skip the conversation. It's a really critical conversation to have. Children are seeing a lot about relationships through social media, and I think it's really important that they see and learn and hear about relationships from their own parents as well. So don't skip the conversation and try not to get emotional. You may hear things that are hard to hear, but you really want to create that open atmosphere for your teenager.
Hold the judgment, as you said earlier. Dr. Dooley, what about some red flags that your child might be in trouble?
So red flags that your child might be having issues would be if you noticed a sudden withdrawal from activities or sports or organizations or things that they used to enjoy doing. If you noticed a decline in their studies or academics, if you notice they're just not participating in things like they used to, they may have mood changes and seem angry. hostile, depressed, or anxious. So all of those would be red flags that it's important to check in with your child. And you could also offer them the option that if they don't feel comfortable or ready to talk to you, is there someone at their school or their college that they would feel comfortable talking to at this point?
Dr. Danielle Dooley, thank you so much. We so appreciate your time. And that is our time for now. For all of us at NBC News, I'm Vicki Wynn. Be sure to join me for another edition of Consumer Confidential right here on Today All Day.
Oh, Today All Day. Summer's officially here, so get outside, do something fun. Up next, Sama Dada is sharing the ultimate menu for a perfect picnic party in the park.
This is sort of like playing with Play-Doh, but it tastes good and it's edible. Play-Doh is not edible, I don't think. Play-Doh is edible? No. Why? There's no way. I just learned that Play-Doh is edible. Don't eat it though, that's disgusting. Just eat these instead. In the summer months especially, it's really nice to get outside and take advantage of your local parks. And listen, I am your dream picnic guest because I never come without the most important thing, food. So I'm gonna show you how to make 2 of my favorite recipes for your next #picnic party, my easy homemade turmeric hummus, and my favorite spiced chickpea burgers with a delicious red pepper sauce. Some may say it's sacrilegious to make hummus with canned chickpeas, but you know what? Convenience is a gorgeous thing, and you can still get a really delicious result with the canned chickpeas that have been sort of hibernating at the back of your pantry for quite some time. If you're freaked out at all by making hummus at home, just don't be, because you know what? All you need to make it is a blender. So let's start. Starting with my canned chickpeas, adding these straight to the blender. They're so cute. I'm gonna go ahead and add my tahini. You cannot have hummus without tahini. It is like peanut butter and jelly, you know what I mean? So don't forget it. You just simply can't have hummus without it. It makes it nice and earthy and creamy and flavorful. Okay? You've got those really savory flavors from that tahini, from the chickpeas, so now we need a little bit of tartness, and that's where our lemon juice comes in. Just gonna roll the lemon to release some of that juice. Lemon juice going straight in my blender. It's gonna make this hummus really bright and zingy. I will warn you, once you learn how to make this hummus at home, you may never go back to store-bought. I'm sorry, but I'm just not sorry. Perfect. Lemon is done. Now I'm gonna add in my garlic. I like using raw garlic here because it has a really punchy, flavorful taste, and we want all of that flavor in this hummus. Here's where we really spice it up, okay? We're gonna add my 3 favorite spices. I'm adding some cumin. Adding some paprika for a little hint of smoke and spice. And what would this turmeric hummus be without turmeric? It doesn't make sense. So I'm adding my turmeric in. Another reason I wanted to make a turmeric hummus is because of that gorgeous yellow color. So that's really gonna give that hummus that bright pop. It's gonna look really good on your table, I promise. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and some freshly ground black pepper. Now I'm just gonna blend. In order to get this hummus super smooth, we're gonna add a little bit of water, tablespoon by tablespoon, until it reaches our desired consistency. For me, that's very smooth and velvety and luxurious. Starting with just a bit. The trick with this hummus to get it super velvety smooth is when you reach your desired consistency, blend it for an extra 3 or 4 more times. That's gonna make it even more smooth. Like, look at that. Oh my God, I cannot wait. Let me just adjust to taste. See if it needs anything. I mean, come on. It's perfect. I'm gonna add the hummus into my bowl. Have you ever seen anything this smooth in your life? No, right? Okay. Now, let me show you how to adorn this hummus. I'm gonna smooth it out. I created a little swoosh so that the olive oil and spices have a little home. Drizzle some olive oil on top. Sprinkling with a little bit of za'atar. If you don't know what za'atar is, it's a Middle Eastern spice blend with sumac, sesame seeds, and another host of spices. It's so good. If you don't have za'atar, don't worry, you can totally omit it, but I think it tastes amazing with it. I'm gonna add a touch of paprika just for a little color. This works as a nice contrast to that bright yellow that the turmeric gives this hummus. I mean, look at how pretty that is, right? But we're not done yet. I have this gorgeous platter of fresh vegetables here, and I'm just gonna cut them and adorn them around my hummus. If you don't feel like slicing your veggies yourself, no worries. You can buy it pre-cut. I've got some time on my hands. I mean, this is art. Monet? Is that you? It's me. I think I made a masterpiece. I'm not trying to be conceited, but like, are we all looking at the same thing here? Doesn't this make you want to be one of my picnic guests? Maybe? So pretty. Need to take a picture. My phone really does eat first. I know that's cliche, but it's true. Oh my God, I was immediately taken aback by how pretty this looked. I cracked myself up. I'm taking like 20,000 pictures. I think 12 would have been fine, but okay. I think I got the shot. Can confidently say I got the shot. I'm gearing up. Okay. This is the most both exciting and tragic part of making hummus, is that part where you ruin the art. But it's okay. This is what it's for. Okay, I'm going in. Did that make you all feel things? Because I just felt really emotional. Okay, ready to taste. It's so good. Something so flavorful paired with a simple, crisp vegetable, just like, these vegetables just gotta glow up. Thanks to this hummus, it's art. It's art. No picnic would be complete without a sandwich, so I'm gonna show you how to make my favorite chickpea burger with a red pepper sauce. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy. Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes.
Start today.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
To turn your favorite hummus into my red pepper special sauce, first cut 2 peppers in half and de-seed them. Then roast the red peppers at 450 degrees for about 25 minutes. After removing the peppers from the oven, they'll need to be steamed for 10 to 15 minutes. You can do this by inverting a glass bowl over the peppers onto a cutting board. Sealing the peppers creates steam, making it easier for the skins to peel right off. Remove the pepper peels and discard. Yep, they're a little slippery. Roughly chop the red peppers into large pieces. Add 2 cups of your favorite hummus to a high-speed blender. Homemade or store-bought will do just fine. Now, drop in your roasted red peppers. Blend the mixture until it's well combined and super smooth. Now, this special sauce is ready to be spread on anything your heart desires.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this? Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to go spend some time with you. Appreciate
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy. Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes.
Start today.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes. This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in York. The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
To refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Having a good veggie burger recipe in your back pocket is sort of like having your best friend on speed dial. It's pretty useful. And I don't know if people are really using speed dial anymore, but you get the point. My chickpea burgers are deliciously spiced, they're super hearty, and they're perfect for when you want something substantial that still happens to be plant-based. First things first, I want this burger to have a lot of complex layers of flavor, so I'm gonna saute some onion and garlic to put in it. Just gonna dice my red onion. I'm only using half here. I'm using a red onion here because I really like that it adds that nice sweetness. It's gonna be so good in this veggie burger. Also, aesthetically speaking, I know it's what's on the inside that counts, but aesthetically speaking, these red onions are really pretty. That purpley red, we love it. Red onions are diced. I'm now gonna mince my garlic. Great way to mince garlic. All you're gonna do is take your clove, use the flat edge of your knife, get some of your aggression out, and then start mincing. I'm gonna do this with all of the rest of my cloves. Garlic, it's our friend, okay? You may smell like garlic for 3 days after cooking with it, but it's worth it. It's worth the price you have to pay. You wanna extract all of that garlicky flavor. It's so good. And we're mincing it really finely so that we can get out all of that flavor, all of that aroma, all of that garlic perfume that will plague you for the next 3 days. All right. Now I'm gonna heat my pan and add some olive oil. My oil is shimmering, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions. Got some resistant ones in here. Don't worry, you're gonna become a burger. Something to celebrate. All right. We want these onions to be tender, translucent, starting to brown around the edges. When we get a little bit of that caramelization, it's gonna impart so much flavor onto these burgers. And you might be wondering, why didn't we add the garlic with the onions? But we can't do that because the garlic takes a lot less time to cook, so if we added with the onions, it would burn, and that's not cute. My onions look perfect. They're nice and golden brown around the edges. They're tender, translucent, which means it's time for the garlic. Okay. Doesn't need too much time to become a little brown, about 2 minutes. Don't forget, and I'm reminding you here, to season with salt and pepper. Flavor is our friend. We always want more of it. Okay, this looks amazing. The garlic is nice and golden. It's got some color. I'm gonna set this aside to cool and then get to work on the base of my burger. For the base of this burger, I'm starting with some cashews. I know that sounds crazy, but cashews are buttery and delicious. They really allow this veggie burger to be hearty and meaty without any actual meat. So I'm gonna add that into my food processor. I'm using raw cashews here, unsalted, completely raw. This is important. All I'm gonna do is process these cashews into a nice fine powder, kind of like a flour. Looks pretty good. All right, this looks perfect. Let me just show you the texture real quick. It's sort of like this nice flour, you can see. It's gonna be a really hearty base for this burger. Okay, cashews are done. Now we're gonna move on to the rest of my ingredients. Now I'm gonna add some flaxseed meal. This is gonna be really great as a binder for these burgers. It's sort of like a vegan replacement for an egg. Okay, looking cozy in there. And because I can't live my life without any spice, it just simply is not possible, I'm gonna add my spices. Starting with a little paprika. And just know, these spices aren't gonna make it spicy, right? It's gonna be flavorful, it's gonna add a lot of body and taste. That's what we like. A little bit of turmeric. Yum. Some cumin. And finally, some coriander. This is a chickpea burger, so we gotta add our chickpeas. These are just drained. And now we're gonna process. It's okay if this mixture isn't fully pulverized. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of that chickpea texture, so don't sweat it if you've got a little chickpea hanging out in there. Now I'm just gonna add some olive oil, and then remember my onions and garlic from earlier? These are going in there as well. A little olive oil. And then my onions and garlic. Perfect. Okay, you probably guessed this, but we're gonna process one more time. My mixture is looking amazing. Gonna transfer it to a bowl. Just transferred my patty mixture into my bowl, and you'll notice it's kind of thick and sticky, which is great because then we'll be able to form it into patties really nicely. Because I want this to have a little bit of zest, a little bit of something herby, I'm just gonna add some cilantro in here. You can totally use parsley if cilantro freaks you out. I won't judge you. I'm just gonna roughly tear them. I like those big pieces of herbs, but if you want it smaller, you can totally chop it. Okay. Mix that in. And now we're ready to form them into patties. A couple of things I want to do before I form these into patties. First, remove all my rings, because I wear like 12,000. And now I'm going to oil my hands just to make sure that nothing sticks to them. Just a little on here, just a little. Using extra virgin olive oil. I think you're moisturizing your hands, but you're really just prepping to make your burgers. Okay, here we go. It's very fun, very therapeutic, and look how well this sticks together. So I'm gonna form these into like a little ball at first, and then I'll flatten them out into patties. You can really make these as big or as small as you'd like. I'm going for like a major burger situation, but you can also make little small burgers as well if you want little bite-sized snacks, if you want to throw them on a salad. They're very versatile. See how virtually nothing is sticking to my hands? You can thank the extra virgin olive oil for that. You've got a lot of really hearty elements in this burger, the cashews, the chickpeas. It allows it to stick together, but also allows you to feel really satiated. It's really delicious and just a really great way to eat a veggie burger that's exciting. I'm gonna put these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. Make sure you flip them once halfway through baking. And if you don't wanna eat them now, don't worry, you can freeze them for another day. They're perfect for meal prep.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks. It's not fun. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
I mean, is this a joke? Look at this. That crisp golden exterior? It looks so beautiful. If you did want it to be a little more crisp on the outside, feel free to sear them. But to me, this looks perfect. It's time to assemble my burger. I'm very excited. I've got my bun, got my tomatoes, my lettuce, and I have a little red pepper special sauce to go in the burger as well. So I'm gonna go for it. Got my bun. I like a lot of sauce, so I'm gonna go ahead and be generous here. This is gonna add more flavor, a little bite, and some nice color too. I'm gonna spread both sides of the burger, both buns, here as well. The red pepper sauce is like tangy, a little sweet. These are roasted red peppers. Okay. Now for my star. Go ahead and add one of my burgers. Straight onto my bun. It's like it was meant to be there. It's almost upsetting how perfect it looks on that burger bun. Okay, here we go. Gonna add a little fresh tomato. And some lettuce for some greens in my life. Okay, time for that other bun. I mean, come on, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Look at the colors. I gotta take a picture. Doesn't it look good? Okay. Oh my God, look at that. All of those layers of flavor. That looks really good. Okay, is it time? I'm nervous I'm not gonna eat this in a cute way at all, but I guess it really doesn't matter. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna go from this side. This seems more approachable to me. Okay, here we go. I mean, this chickpea burger is so well spiced, so well seasoned. I think I need another bite. It seems like I must take another bite. Okay. It's just simply not right. It's simply not right how good it is. That red pepper special sauce though, ties everything together. See, this is why I'm everyone's favorite picnic guest. I do stuff like this, and then they always invite me again. You can be that person too. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Okay, I'm going in. Someone has to stop me. Someone has to stop me. I'm gonna keep eating this. No one's gonna stop me? Okay. All right. Going to Central Park is one of my favorite things to do in New York. It's the perfect place for a picnic party. I invited my sister and my best friend for a little afternoon lunch. Hey! What's up? Come on. Hey guys, look at my crudité prata. Yeah, I'm eyeballing it. I cannot live my life without hummus, and I love bringing it to a picnic because it's easy to pack and snack on. We love a fresh veg. And yeah, hummus is so good. What do you think? Hummus is so good. My chickpea burger is one of my favorite plant-based meals. It's hearty and comforting, plus it's great hot or room temp. Oh, I like that you're taking photos. That makes me happy. Are you contemplating? Okay, cheers. 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 It looks like Shake Shack, honestly. It looks like Shake Shack. It's nice. Okay. Doesn't it? This looks fake. It's like a Krabby Patty. There's nothing I love more than sharing my food with the people that I love, and a picnic is a great place to do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Dylan Dreyer. It's so nice to have you with us for Today Goes Back to School. The countdown to the new school year is officially on, and we have pulled together a team of experts focusing on everything you need for a successful school year, from how to save on must-have items to academics and much more. But first, in anticipation of the most wonderful time of the year, our Today Show family shared their favorite back-to-school traditions. Take a look.
The one word I would use to describe back to school is exciting. New beginning, a fresh start.
Relief. Sweet relief.
I love a new possibility. I love new beginnings.
I was a teacher too, and whenever September rolls around, I get that feeling in my stomach of the fresh season.
I was the kid at the end of the school year who actually cried. So whatever the opposite of that feeling was of crying, that's how I felt every year when the school year began.
Growing up, my favorite tradition was going back to school shopping.
School shopping is always fun.
All those new notepads and pencils and scissors, and can we please buy glue stick? Please, just this once.
To this day, true story, I walk into CVS and I look at the binder section and the notebook section in the fall, and I think I've got to get some notebooks and some binders.
My sister and I would get matching outfits, and we would set everything out that we were going to wear for the first day of school. I mean, from head to toe. We like to celebrate the beginning of the school year by having a family dinner, talk about what we're excited about and what we're nervous the night before school starts.
The night before school, maybe a family dinner. The girls pick out whatever they want. Inevitably, it's pizza, so everybody wins. Back to school is something to be excited about, and certainly they're excited.
I like to get them a special backpack because they like to put their snacks in there, and then more snacks and more snacks. And they get to decorate it and get to do whatever they want.
We love making the first day of whatever grade they're starting. We love making that sign, taking that picture.
They've got the fresh haircut, new clothes, the sneakers are clean, the backpack is clean, because then you fast forward to the end of the year and it looks totally different.
We would go and we'd get the notebooks and the pencils and the trapper keepers and everything, and they were all excited because school hadn't started yet. And within 6 months, that was all out the door.
I try to give energy to my kids to be excited the night before school starts, to say, you know what, this is going to be an awesome year.
I love bringing back those memories. Okay, so we have brought together a panel of experts to answer the most searched questions for back to school. I'm joined by NBC News medical contributor, Dr. Natalie Azar, Katie Hurley, a child and adolescent psychotherapist, and Kurt Russell, the country's 2022 Teacher of the Year. Welcome, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Dylan.
Okay, so some of the top questions, obviously, Dr. Natalie, we'll start with you, involve COVID. So what's the latest guidelines? What can parents expect when they send their kids back to school?
You know, Dylan, I think the number one thing that parents should kind of be aware of going into the school year is what are your school's policies and what is their mechanism for communicating to you. I think we all can remember getting emails from the superintendent and this is our policy and we're following CDC guidance, but maybe we're modifying it a little bit. So I think going into the school year, it's important, especially as a working parent, for childcare and things like that, to know what your school's policy is regarding, you know, isolation and quarantine. Every child now, 6 months and older, is eligible for vaccination. So, you know, most schools obviously are not mandating that, but if your child is above the age of 6 months, they can certainly be vaccinated. And I think then the big question is about boosters. Pretty easy to remember if you think of the number 5. Everyone over the age of 5 is eligible for their first booster if you had the original, you know, 2 series mRNA about 5 months after you completed that. In terms of a second booster, if you're over the age of 12 and with an immunocompromising condition or you're over the age of 50, you are technically eligible for a second booster. A lot of parents are wondering right now about whether or not they're going to get the new bivalent vaccine, right? That's going to have the original Omicron strain, or the original strain, I should say, plus Omicron.
Okay.
At this point, we have no information that children are going to be eligible for that updated vaccine. So kids, if you haven't been vaccinated at all, you're still going with the original series and you're boosting with the original.
Okay, but every school is different, so make sure you need to know what your school's
policies are. Yeah,
Okay.
so you're not, caught off guard.
Okay. Katie, there's a lot of anxiety going back to school. Some kids haven't been in a classroom setting all that long. I'm sending my son to first grade for the first time in a whole new school. So there is a lot of anxiety for parents and for kids. So how can we ease it for everybody in the family?
Well, I think the first thing, Dylan, is really just talking about it and being really open about it, because a lot of kids, from the little ones up through the college students, are just experiencing a wide variety of anxiety and stressors. So just really saying, it's okay if you feel a little bit worried. I feel a little bit worried too. What can we do about that? So one thing I talk about with little kids is creating worry boxes where they can just kind of decorate a little box and then stick their worries in day by day, one by one. It's just a way of getting it out and really talking about it with a grown-up or someone else in the family. With older kids, I like to talk about doing zones of control. So, worries, I always say anxiety lives in the past, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, or in the future, the what ifs. Okay. So if we can all remain sort of present in what we're doing today, and we can say, what's within my zone of control today? Today I can pack my backpack, I can get my new school supplies, I can cuddle with a grown-up, I can read a book with a grown-up, just things like that. Just sometimes just these everyday sort of strategies really help kids feel calm. And always when parents or grown-ups in the home are showing a sense of calm, that helps kids see that, okay, it's okay to feel worried, but I can do this.
And it's okay for parents to express their worry to their kids also, within reason, I'm assuming?
Within reason, yes. I mean, we don't want to put all of our, global worries onto our kids, right? But it's okay to normalize it and say, yeah, I feel worried sometimes too. And you know what I do? I like to take a walk, or I like to just sit and pet the dog while I look at a magazine, or whatever you like to do. The more open we are about it, the more kids learn that, okay, it's okay to have all these different emotions, and I can figure out a way to get through that, whether it's coloring or, listening to music or getting outside.
Okay. And Kurt, let's bring you in here because you are the 2022 Teacher of the Year. So parents have that back to school night. They get the first chance to talk to their kids' teachers. What should they be asking? What should they learn from that meeting?
Dylan, that's a great question. And similar to parents, teachers are nervous as well, right? And so I had to talk to myself. So parents should just be a cheerleader for their children. You can do this. Let me encourage you. What you are going to expect within the classroom is this and that. And so I think we have to be honest with our children as they go through school and making sure that they are comfortable enough, making sure that they know their classes, right? Make sure that they know the bus stops. So take that anxiety off of them, as Katie mentioned earlier. It makes things more smoother, makes things more accurate for our children as they go through school.
Okay. Real quick, I just want to get to each one of you a tip that you have. Kurt, let's start with you.
Be a cheerleader.
Okay.
That's the most important thing, be an encourager for parents, for their children.
Okay. Katie?
Be a good listener. I always say follow the 80-20 rule. Listen 80%, talk 20.
Oh, that's good. And Dr. Natalie?
I wish I could say it's just COVID that we have to worry about, but parents out there, one of the biggest unintended consequences of the pandemic was missing childhood vaccinations. We already are seeing a lot of flu in the southern hemisphere this year, so flu is going to be a big deal for your kids this year. Polio vaccine, right? That's in the news. Make sure your kids are up to date on all of their childhood vaccinations.
So get back to the doctor.
Get back to the
I know
doctor.
we all kind of skipped that for a little while there. Dr. Natalie, Katie, Kurt, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for that great advice. All right, coming up, let's get organized. Real Simple's editor-in-chief is here with great tips on how to get your family and your home organized for the new school year.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now. News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
This is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Today All Day's Back to School Boot Camp. And as summer days wind down, busy back to school schedules are starting to kick into high gear. And Real Simple editor-in-chief Lauren Iannotti has a few hacks to help parents and students set themselves up for success this fall. Hi, Lauren. I think we really need your tips today.
I know. That's why I'm here. Listen, I'm living it too. This is my life, and that's why I've got all these tips that are going to help you get in a good position to start that school year.
And I love it. And just reading through these, I think organization is the general theme here, and it's key. And you say, first things first, have a command center in your house. What's that?
Right. So rather than just kind of thinking of like a little corner of your kitchen counter as being the place where stuff happens, you need to designate a space. It should be centrally located. Everybody knows where it is. Everybody can access it, so they don't always have to be like, Dad, when is my big calendar, paper calendar I recommend, so you can flip ahead to months ahead and get all the important scheduling stuff on there. And then have an inbox where all the most urgent papers come in, and then you can sort them. But you want them to start there so you know that they're important. And then maybe have like some hanging file folders. I love that because it doesn't take up a ton of space. You can put it right on the wall.
Right.
And I just want to emphasize here, like, it might not be perfectly beautiful. If you can make it beautiful, make it beautiful. But it needs to be functional, and what it's going to do is just make sure everybody knows all the information they need to start their day.
So whatever works for your family, just make sure you have it.
Precisely.
Okay, so I'm usually working during the whole get dressed for school thing, but this is a great hack to kind of have the week planned out for kids.
This is a great hack that we did in Real Simple, where you take a shoe holder and a clean one, a new one maybe, and you label it by day of the week, and you put an outfit in each one. And you just look at the weather ahead of the week and you'll know, and then just get it in there, and they know seamlessly. They just kind of grab it and they can put it on. It helps them take some ownership over themselves. They learn how to like sort of dress themselves. And you know, you can do it right from the laundry when you're folding clothes. Just put them right in there so you save yourself steps.
That's a good idea, because I hate putting laundry away. So this way it just goes right on the shelf. Okay, so once the kids are dressed, it's time for lunch.
Okay, it's time to get lunches ready and feed and breakfast. So for breakfast, make ahead. You know, it's like take a little bit of time on Sunday or a little bit of time on Monday morning, get up a little bit early, you can have that quiet time in the kitchen, and make ahead breakfast. We have a great story in the magazine this month about breakfast tacos. Imagine like a breakfast taco on a Tuesday morning, right? So you make them ahead, freeze them.
Grab it.
Mini frittatas, we've got all these great ideas. So I highly recommend that, because that'll keep them full and sated until lunchtime.
Okay.
And lunchtime is a battle. We've talked about this.
I do not like making lunch. I just feel like it's never healthy, it's never quick, it's never easy, it's just
And are they actually going to eat it? And they, you know.
Yes.
So it's a pain point for me too. And what we recommend is that you buy stuff in bulk, and then you create a grab and go grocery basically in your house. So they can just come up to the bins and be like, I want this granola bar, I want this chips, I want this, these dried fruit, and then you also do it for fresh stuff, for fresh fruits and vegetables. Chop it up, and you're going to put it in you're going to chop a whole bunch up for the week, and put it in the fridge. Find some space in the fridge, and they can grab it. And that also, again, helps them learn how to build a healthy lunch themselves, and it makes sure that they're getting everything that they need.
And you know they're getting what they want too, so it doesn't all come back home from school with them.
Exactly.
Okay, so when it comes to getting organized, I feel like clutter just piles up on the table for me. So how do we avoid the clutter?
So the return home from the things is always a challenge, and you can come into your house and see just like it's like a war zone. There are book bags everywhere, and there are laptop bags, and what we want to do is avoid that. So we have all kinds of strategies for entryway. It should be visible, open storage. Pegs, hooks are great, so the kids can put their coats on themselves. Baskets labeled for their book bags, so they know which one is theirs, and there's no guesswork. And then the next morning, when you're trying to get out the door, you know exactly where everything is. And then you can put these catch-alls on a counter. They'll just for the small things. You don't want it to pile up too much, but everyone can throw their keys if you have bigger kids with keys. Sunglasses, just the little things that they're going to need to grab right on the way out the door. Masks, great place to have masks if they're still wearing masks in school, and take the guesswork out of it, right? And that's just, I know it seems very type A, but you're going to help yourself.
But if you have the option, maybe it'll actually end up in that option.
100%.
So, yes, okay. So homework is also a thing. I'd imagine staying organized so that homework is less stressful is a good idea also.
100%. Homework, my daughter is going to 2nd grade and she is so excited to have homework.
Really?
Homework is a fun thing.
It's like you say that now.
I know. I think we make it less fun by putting stress on kids about it. I think the way to keep them loving homework and to keep them doing it and make sure they do it on time is to make it seamless and set them up for success. This is an adorable homework caddies. Everything that they need, keep it where they're gonna be doing the work, but it's also portable. So if today we're gonna be at the dining table, you can buy a caddy and just stock it up, or you can DIY it. We have a great idea, real simple, about getting a shoebox, and it involves toilet paper rolls, and the kids would love it. They get to color it themselves and everything.
Right.
And just what that means is they sit down and they just get to it. And then we have this other great hack about time management for kids, because again, all of these things you're trying to teach your kids to sort of take ownership a little bit, little by little, and it's kind of training for them and training for you, because you shouldn't be doing everything for them for their entire lives.
And this clock is a good way to do that.
This clock is great. So you buy an inexpensive clock, and all you got to do is take a marker and sort of mark up what each hour should be designated for. So maybe they get home at 3 to 4 is wind down and snack time. And then maybe 4 to 5 is homework time. And then maybe 5 to 6, I don't know, depending on their age, is bath time, or maybe they'll help you prep dinner or whatever it is.
Love that.
So this takes all the guesswork. I mean, you can kind of want that for yourself too.
Yes, I know. It's it's playtime.
Oh, it's doom scrolling time for mom.
Yes.
No, we're not going to do that.
Haven't done Wordle today, so I better hop on that. These are such great tips, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to kind of do all this in my house. I've got 2 kids off to school.
Just pick and choose. Remember, not everything's for everybody, and we don't want everyone to feel like you have to have everything clamped down, but it's just to put you in a good position for success in fall.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, it is time to tackle your back-to-school shopping list with strategies to save on some of the hottest gear of the season. Stay with us.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
NBC News, streaming free now.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
We all know back-to-school shopping can be stressful, and it certainly can be expensive. According to the National Retail Federation, a whopping $37 billion will be spent on back-to-school shopping this year, which breaks down to $864 per household. So, what essentials do kids actually need, and most importantly, which ones are worth your hard-earned money? Well, there's no one better to break down what to buy than Grace Bastidas, editor-in-chief of Parents. Hello, Grace. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, too.
All right, we've got all age groups covered here. So let's start, obviously, with the elementary, kindergarten age group here, where lunch boxes and lunch bags are so important.
Yes, lunch boxes. So this one's from Land's End,
and it's leak resistant and insulated to keep food cool for up to 5 hours. It's also thick and sturdy, so it protects sandwiches from getting squished, which no one wants to eat, right? And my favorite feature is it has a little compartment on the bottom that fits a water bottle, snacks, or whatever little extra you want to toss in there.
So it has the compartments, which hopefully will keep your kids' lunch organized too.
Yes, exactly.
And this comes in all different colors, I'm assuming.
All colors, whatever patterns your kid wants.
Okay, great. So naturally going with the whole lunch bag theme, the water bottle is so important. Why do you like this one?
This is a stainless steel thermos container, and it's also vacuum insulated to keep drinks cold for 12 hours.
Okay.
And it comes in fun patterns that kids love, and it has a really cute little grip handle that's perfect for little hands to carry throughout the day and keep hydrated. And if your kid drops it, don't worry, it's built to withstand dings.
Okay, so it's even okay to put milk in here because it keeps it cold.
Yes, exactly.
All right, perfect. Okay, now for the next age group, let's talk about backpacks. And, you know, I think it's time everybody gets a new fresh one.
Yes. So this is from JanSport, and I had a JanSport backpack as a kid, and for good reason, right? Because it has a lifetime warranty.
That still exists?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So if it rips or the zipper breaks, send it back and they'll repair it or send you a new one. And this one is lightweight and fits all the essentials.
It's great because the books can weigh it down, certainly. So it's nice when the bag doesn't weigh a lot, and it's such a nice pattern too. Okay, so for high schoolers, let's talk about some tech. You have some more expensive and then some more reasonably priced options.
Yes, we have headphones. So my children have this. This is wireless and noise canceling from Puro Quiet, and it has a long-lasting battery life, and it's equipped with limited volume to protect young ears, and it costs $129. Now, if you're on a tighter budget, these from J Buddies Pro cost $35, have Bluetooth technology, and also volume regulators so that your kids can jam safely.
And they're also wireless?
Yes.
Okay, because I feel like nobody wears wires anymore. So.
No, you want to move around, dance.
So when you have, you know, all kinds of different technology, the iPads, the phones, everything else, it's nice to keep that all organized with the charging station.
Yes, so this is the charging station. It's from Great Useful Stuff, and it turns any surface into a workspace. And it also charges 5 devices simultaneously.
Oh, wow.
And keeps unsightly cords hidden away.
Okay, so when it looks nice, you're more likely to use it, which I always notice. Okay, so for college kids going off to school, there are some appliances you can keep in your dorm room. What do you recommend?
I recommend this Hamilton Beach tea kettle. It's convenient, versatile, and it boils water in a flash. So if your college kid wants to fuel up before class with a cup of coffee, tea, or even a speedy meal, ramen, oatmeal, pasta, whatever, this will do the job. And the best part is that it turns off when it reaches a boil. So that should give you a little peace of mind, which all parents want.
Yes, because you're not always thinking in college about, did I turn that off? I'm not quite sure. A lot of folks going back to school, you know, in the end of the summer, it's the end of August, and it gets really hot. So what do you recommend to keep cool?
And dorm rooms can get hot and stuffy. So packing a fan is actually key. This one is from Dreo. It's a standing fan. It's slim, it's sleek, can be tucked away in even the smallest closet. And your college freshmen will appreciate that it's super quiet, it won't disturb if they're studying or napping.
Right, because in college, any distraction can happen at any time, so it's nice to keep the quiet with the fan, too. Grace, thank you so much.
Thanks so
much. This
much.
was wonderful and so helpful, so happy shopping for everyone. All right, coming up, join me in the kitchen as my son Cal and I take on a yummy lunch recipe. We'll be right back.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy. Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does. Start today.
Everybody, good morning. Welcome to Today.
We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes. This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in York. The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
To refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Today Goes Back to School. We end our show today with a visit to my own kitchen. My son Cal and I whipped up a recipe from one of my favorites on Instagram, Amy Palangian, also known as Yummy Toddler Food. She also has a book called Food Play, which teaches preschoolers how to have fun making their own food in the kitchen. I always make her green pancakes for my boys. They absolutely love it, and I love to sneak some veggies into their meals. Take a look. It's another edition of Cooking with Cal. What are we making today?
Green pancakes.
With
yogurt.
I follow at Yummy Toddler Food on Instagram, and Amy posts these amazing, easy, delicious, healthy recipes for kids. So this actually happens to be a favorite, right? Here we go. Can you peel a banana? Do you know how to peel a banana? Can you peel one?
Yeah. Where is it? This?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay.
Nice.
Now peel it.
This?
Yeah, pull it down. Whoa, you can peel your own banana? And put it in the blender. Nice.
That's my first time doing it.
That's your first time peeling a banana?
You asked me.
Good job. High five, Ollie. We're going to add flaxseed. Okay, here. Kevin, can you add cinnamon? Perfect. Do you remember how to crack eggs?
Uh-huh.
It's been a while.
Swirly, swirly, swirly. Teaspoon? Put a teaspoon.
Get it all in there. 1 cup of milk.
Stop. No, stop.
I just have a little milk left. That's it. Okay.
It's higher than it.
That's okay.
Terrible. So green.
Okay. Do you want to try the spinach?
Yeah.
This is why we put spinach in the pancakes, because I can't get you to eat it otherwise. Okay, put it on the blender. Or on the machine, whatever it is. Ollie, flip that up. Good job. Let's plug in the griddle. This is gonna get super duper hot, okay? Some whole wheat flour. See how this is super healthy?
All of it? Now can I make some?
Careful.
Yeah.
Get underneath it and commit to the flip. Yes! That's okay. Good?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Am I your helper, chef?
You're my sous chef. You're always my sous chef. Press. Put all your strength into your arms and squeeze it down. That looks good, right?
Keep going, buddy. Take this bite, Mommy?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
Yummy. Why did you figure it out?
Do you like it? For these recipes and more, head to today.com/food. And it's healthy too if you want to sneak a bite for yourself. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Here's to a happy and healthy new school year. And remember, you've got this.
Answers come when you need them most. Ooh, let it go. The Today Show's newest fan.
Little Al Roker.
What am I doing here? This is your moment, no
much excitement from a viewer's standpoint leading up to the U.S. Open, but I'm so curious what it's like for you. How does it feel in those days leading up to the U.S. Open? Serena, Venus, and Rafa, if we can just go down the line.
Oh, it's always excitement. Like you said, there's a buzz in the air, and you can feel it. And if you get here early, it's not as strong, but it's still there. But as each day goes on, it's like the buzz gets stronger and stronger, and then suddenly it's like, okay, you're ready for this final Grand Slam of the year, and it's such a unique feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And New York there's no place like it. So you get the energy in the crowds, and I just got here yesterday and I'm just pumped. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, for me, I enjoy it always playing here. Have been a lot of memories going back here. Last couple of years, I haven't had the chance to be playing here, so I am excited to be back. I always had a great connection here with the people, and night sessions are probably the best in the world, without a doubt. No? So we're just looking forward for it.
I love it. And Naomi and I were just talking. You lived here for a little bit back in the day. What'd you say, like 3rd grade, 4th grade? What's it like for you to be back in New York?
It's really cool for me. Actually, there's this picture of me watching you play when I was like, watching you practice when I was like 5 years old.
Oh, yeah?
Rafa, is that good or bad? She's like, and I have the picture right here.
No good news then.
But yeah, it's really cool for me. The site has changed a lot, but I have a lot of really cool memories, like coming with my family to watch. So.
And Nick, you've had certainly quite the season recently. Final appearance at Wimbledon. You've had a great hard court season. What is it like for you coming into the U.S. Open here in New York as one of the favorites?
Oh, I mean, look, I wouldn't say I'm one of the favourites, but, sitting up here with these guys, it's honestly a dream for me, where I came from in Canberra, to playing at the US Open's amazing. I'm just super excited. As Rafa said and as Venus said, the energy is it's different here, to any other Grand Slam. You see celebrities walking around all the time and, just the energy and the spark of New York City.
We know you took in a Broadway show. What did you see?
I've actually gone 3 different nights in a row.
Really?
So Harry Potter, Aladdin, and Book of Mormon.
Oh, that's
pretty
awesome.
Good.
That's a good run.
Yeah, that's good.
What was your favorite?
Harry Potter last night was incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah, really good.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are you, like Gryffindor?
I'm like Slytherin, I think.
Me too.
So the draws went out earlier today. Did you find out who your draw is?
Of course.
All right, so we've got Kokkinakis. You're playing with him later on as a doubles partner. How do you play against someone who's going to be your partner? How does that work?
Well, I've literally grown up with Finale since we're about 6 years old, so we know each other's game back to front, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like we'd never played professionally before, so
wow.
I'm looking forward to it. Win or lose, he's a capable player, and he's one of my great friends, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Rafa, let me bring you in here. You won the Australian Open and the French Open a little earlier this year. I know you're coming off an injury. How are you feeling?
I normally feels good, but of course my body sometimes feels the other way. No, but
how does your body feel today?
Today is good. Let's see. Well, let's see. No, I am just happy to be playing. For me, honestly, it's a dream come true at this stage of my career. I still be in a position where I am today. I never thought about that 10 years ago, but my career improved the proper way, and even if I had some issues in terms of injuries, I was able to keep going, and proud of it.
Traveling the world, I think, on one hand is so awesome, but to do that and to play at the peak of your game it seems tough. And Venus and Rafa, you've been on tour for more than 2 decades. What is it like to travel the world and keep up with the rigor of the tour?
It's great because in the hotel, people clean for you. And you don't have to make your bed, so you can wake up late, run out. But we go to great places. I mean, all the majors, Paris, London, New York. Like, if you complain about this, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. What about for you?
Well, for me, it's at the end of the day, you find your routines. Now, we more or less we repeat the same places every year for such a long time now. So you find your spots, and it's for me every place that I come back is a little bit like home. I think when the career is getting longer and longer, you get used to enjoy more and more during the tournaments.
Do any of you have rituals when you get to a new place? If we could go down the line, you know, like do you unpack a certain way? Rafa, we know your ritual on the court, but you know what's?
Yeah, but not outside. People think that I am very maybe maniatic outside of the court, but I have zero. Just on the court, I need something to be focused.
That's funny.
And then once you get on the court, do you have, like, it was so funny, we were watching videos of you earlier with like the eyebrows and then the pants. Do you have things, do any of you guys have anything like when you get on the court that you have to have?
This is the guy.
No.
Do you even notice that you're doing certain things, or is it just?
Well, yeah, I have my routines. That's it. No, I probably repeat my routine sometimes without knowing what I am doing, but I know that when I am on court, I feel more safe doing all this kind of
It
stuff.
works. Don't change it.
All right, Serena, let me bring you in here and let's talk about this big chapter in your life. It's killing me. I just read your article. Did you guys see the article in Vogue on the Today Show the other day when we announced that she has decided to use the word evolve? I went into my whole clapping thing. I did. I was like, yes, I love that term. One day I'm going to steal it. It's not retirement, it's evolving. First of all, talk to us a little bit about your decision to make that.
Yeah, I think sometimes as athletes, when athletes do retire, sometimes we do different things, and we're pretty much at a very young age in the big picture of a career to kind of be done with everything, and particularly what I do off the court. It's not like, I'm definitely not going on the beach and just, enjoying it. Exactly, and having lemonades or not. But it's more like an evolution of Serena. And so for me, it was like, I feel like a lot of people could relate to that. And sometimes you just have a platform to kind of just talk about what a lot of people can't really put in words or really talk about. And yeah, it's just an evolution. I'm excited about the new things that I've been doing and I'll continue to do, and it's fun.
I have to ask, will the U.S. Open be your final tournament?
I mean, I don't know. I think so, but who knows?
Can we see you maybe in Australia? I'm sure there are people who are hoping.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, but you never know. I've learned in my career, never say never.
Yeah.
So that's important for me to learn.
Cheers to that. So either way, I was just looking at the numbers. This will be your 21st U.S. Open. You've won the tournament 6 times. What do you think you'll be feeling when you're walking on that court?
I think I would definitely feel a lot of happy emotions, a lot of nostalgia from, several wins. And then I will probably feel just as happy and sad, and just kind of put that in one little box and put it aside for those few hours. But I think I'll feel kind of a little bit of all those emotions.
So you won't unpack it until later. I always wonder about that because you probably have to be able to compartmentalize, right? I mean, you can't go out there and just, ah.
Yeah, no, you can't. You got to be able to, it's not over yet because I still have to play. So you have to be able to try to, like you said, compartmentalize it and just be ready to do your best for that particular day.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy. Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes.
Start today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Okay, so we've got this intimate room. I feel like we can dive in and get to know you guys. Rapid fire. Right?
Call this
We're gonna do
rapid
some
fire.
rapid fire questions.
Easy
Nick,
peasy.
we'll start with you. We know you love video games. I have to know, you've been on the road for a long time now. Do you travel with a video game console?
I used to, early in my career. Now I'm kind of maturing. My girlfriend's with me, so I mean, if I played as much as I did back in the days, I'd probably not have a girlfriend. So, but no, I just, I still travel every now and then with it, but, I'm just trying to, as Rafa said, I feel like, I'm not old, but, I've been on tour now for like 9-10 years, so I kind of feel like I'm not taking these places for granted. I actually like doing, watching Broadway now, or actually exploring, getting dinner and going to these beautiful places. It's, I think I took it for granted a bit earlier in my career, but now I don't really game so much anymore. So.
Yeah. Rafa, if you weren't a tennis player, what would you be?
Difficult to answer. I started my professional tennis career when I even didn't decide what's going to be my future career outside of tennis now, because I became professional at the age of 15. So was difficult. But I don't know. I always loved the sport in general. So probably I will study something like this. Yeah.
Naomi, what are you streaming right now?
Ooh.
So, unlike him, I've started to bring my PlayStation.
Really?
Oh, so you're the gamer now. Okay.
So,
what are you playing?
You know, that moment where you want to list what you're doing, but then you're like, no one would understand. So.
Try us. We might.
Okay. So. Overwatch, Fortnite. I've been trying to play Call of Duty, but I'm not that good. Yeah, he told me you were good at it. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Those are good ones.
That's awesome.
All right, Serena, we've seen you with the headphones. What is your pre-match pump-up song?
Depends. Sometimes listen to Maniac. Was it John
Like she's
Oates?
a maniac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a maniac.
What does that get you I don't know.
It sums me up.
Okay.
Naomi, who's the hardest player you've ever played against?
What kind of out of left field question?
I don't know. We're just reading.
Wow, that's crazy.
She's like, I just told you I like to game, and now.
Oh, wow. Someone pulled out their phone. That's crazy. Hardest player. Can I cheat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can answer that.
I'll probably say Rafa or Roger, in my opinion. I played Rafa once in Rome, and I couldn't walk the next day. I literally couldn't walk. I couldn't walk.
That's awesome.
Wow. He's look at his smile.
Yeah, I know.
Did you guys see that smile?
Makes him feel good.
My left hamstring was gone.
Yeah, Clay is a tough.
Yeah, Clay's
surprise.
tough, man.
Venus, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That's good.
Knock 'em dead. I don't know. I've had some great advice. Serena's given me great advice too, but I don't know if I'm allowed to share it.
Can she share one, Serena? One piece of advice?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it. See, she gave you permission.
I'm on good behavior today. Oh, I don't think I can share, but it was great.
News is happening now. Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now. Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks. It's not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
NBC News, streaming free now.
All right, so Naomi and Nick, switching gears here, you've both been very vocal about mental health. What does it feel like for you guys to have sort of taken on that role of role model to the next generation?
Well, for me, honestly, like I always haven't been the best role model, I feel, but I feel like I'm kind of learning, and I actually struggled early with mental health, and there was times in my tennis career where I was really struggling, and then I wasn't sure if it was okay to feel that way. And then actually I met Naomi and started getting to know her. We did a podcast together and she kind of opened up. And then when she was going through all of that at French Open one year, and that kind of opened my eyes, like saying like, wow, there was another tennis player as great as a champion as she is that was also going through that, made me feel more comfortable to open up about it. And then on Instagram, I kind of opened up about, my self-harming and all that type of stuff. And then I deal with messages every day with people, reaching out, and I try and respond to as many people as I can. But yeah, I think it's just, especially I think men around my age really struggle to open up, kind of feeling weak. Yeah. So I think it was a strong message, but she helped me a lot with that. So
I think this is just my opinion or observation, but as a person, we all kind of think we're alone in the world, or we all have main character syndrome. So I feel like in a way we all think our lives are unique, but I think sometimes we all share a similar feeling, and I don't know, it was definitely really difficult for me, but it made it worth it to see that a lot of people had similar feelings, and they were glad that I opened up about it. I think in the moment it was really hard, but seeing how it helped people, it made it worth it. So.
Let me bring you in here, Rafa. You won 22 Grand Slams. Do you ever feel pressure when you walk out into the court? Do you feel those butterflies, or do you feel like a pro now when you come out? How do you feel?
Well, every single day. I mean, the day that you don't feel that probably is the day to do another stuff. I don't think you can play at the level that you need if you don't feel this pressure, no, because it's part of the game, and that's because you love what are you doing, no? Because if you don't care what you do, then for sure you will not have these feelings at all, no? And for me personally, every single match, even if it's the first round, of course, when you play a final, a little bit more, but of course you can lose every day because the differences are not very high. So respecting every single moment, every single opponent makes you feel that way, and in some way, I really enjoy it, all this kind of pressure, no?
Venus, let me bring you in here. We know that all of the people up here have inspired young girls and boys all over this country. And for you in particular, the way you've moved the needle in the fight for equal pay. It's been such a big deal, and it's helped so many people. Do you give yourself a moment to let that sink in, what you guys were able to accomplish in your activism, what it was able to accomplish?
Yeah, honestly, there's so much more work to be done in equality, and I'm very happy, obviously, to have it in tennis, but outside the tennis, outside the United States, there's such huge gaps, and it's conversations we have to have, because if you're not having the conversation, the needle doesn't move. So lots of work to do, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
I love it. And finally, on the pressure question, Serena, we've heard the number 24 over and over and over. Is that something that you think about? Do you try to compartmentalize with those numbers? Or what's your take on how you wrap your mind around breaking records?
I've already broken the record, so I think that it's just someone else's vision, and mine is just I never dreamt of having this many Grand Slams or titles. I just thought I would just play tennis and maybe win a Grand Slam or two. So for me, it's all a bonus.
Turning to family now, I feel like Olympia is a social media star in her own right at this point. We all just love your daughter. So what does being a mom feel like for you? And are you looking forward to just being able to spend more time with her and everything she's going through?
Yeah, she's great. She's my little, she's just my little buddy. You know, we do everything together. We go on dates, and it's so cool because she likes everything I do except for tennis.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know. She's really fun, and I see a lot of my personality in her, and it's just a great time to have her, around, and now to get to kind of see what I do on a daily.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would want to say? We'd like to go down the line finally to the fans who may not be in this room and the fans who are in this room about your journey or anything that you want to leave with them.
I think we just can say thanks because of them, we are who we are. Because without fans, without having people loving our sport, we will not have all the tour that we have and all the things that we are able to enjoy because of our beautiful sport. And our sport is bigger because the fans makes our sport bigger. So we just can say thank you very much to all of them for loving our sport and for following us and for keep supporting.
Yeah. Your turn.
I'm going to follow that?
Yeah, everybody gets it. And also maybe what don't we see? We know that you guys practice like crazy, but a little bit if you want to share with the fans, like what don't we see and what you would want them to know about you?
I feel like my relationship with fans was rocky at the start. I wasn't really loved anywhere I went, and now it's everywhere I'm playing, the stadiums are full, and I feel like I'm trying to try really hard every match. I'm trying to get the crowd involved, and it's been a real change of heart the last couple of years.
And why do you think that is?
I honestly don't know. I've been this emotional tennis player since I was about 10 years old. I was crying on court. I was a nightmare to deal with when I was younger. But now it's been awesome just to go around the world and see how much my game's appreciated. And that's all I ever wanted was to go out there and entertain people and give them a show and give them something to remember.
And Naomi, what about you?
I think for me, I'm just really grateful. And I was thinking this earlier when I was like, the first tournament of the hardcourt season was in San Jose, and I was playing that. And I was with my dad because my dad's in my team again. And I was telling him like, wow, this is really crazy. Like, I used to play on like courts all the way in the back and like public courts in Florida, right? And now there's actually people that are paying to watch me play. And it was really cool. So I just want to say thank you.
I'm very grateful for the fans because without the fans, we don't have a job. And with no job, lights don't stay on. So that's really the truth. So the fans make the world go round. What people don't know, I don't know. We're all out here working, and people always see your wins, but there are a lot of losses, a lot of injuries. I think Rafa won 2 majors this year, but he's like been totally injured and still managed to do it. And nobody sees those moments when you're fighting and when you're down, and those are often. And that's a part of life. It's all good, but it's nice to have the sport, I guess, when you win.
And Serena, I mean, when you made your announcement on August 9th that you were evolving away from tennis, 16,000 tickets were sold to the US Open, and now the first 3 nights are totally sold out. So people really want to see you play. What is your message to fans?
I think everyone put it so well and graciously that I think I'm just incredibly grateful and incredibly thankful. And fans are so important to the sport, and our sport in particular, and really every sport. And we're so grateful that we have fans that can support us, because that's what it's all about. And I just couldn't say thank you enough.
You open the door for so many people. I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? Hey, Miss Lester, who's this?
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, can we start with a little game?
Yeah,
All right, we gave you
make you
these
smile.
ridiculous paddles, but between the two of you, who is the better cook?
I'm a
Okay.
baker.
What's your specialty?
Oh, I'm not actually a cook. I just cook whatever comes to mind. It usually works.
Making you the better cook.
I love it.
Yeah. All right.
All right, who is the most stubborn?
I don't know. Yeah, me.
Who's the best gift giver?
All right. Here's the thing, you guys, that we were thinking like the newlywed game, you've actually picked everything the
I know.
exact same.
We're on the same page.
Last
We've been
one,
together a long time.
who is the most likely to grab the karaoke mic?
Oh, that's a dead even.
No, you karaoke way more. than
Okay,
me.
yeah, okay.
Go-to song?
Oh, I always try a new song. So it's either I fail or I don't. And yeah, I know after never to do it again or
Yeah.
do it again.
Oh, good for you. That's nice.
Serena, your go-to song?
Oh, I don't have a go-to song anymore. I do have a really long karaoke list, but yeah, I like to try new things.
I love that.
Yeah.
I always do the same song.
I know, I do my go-to.
Okay, so speaking of the U.S. Open, that's why we're here. Serena, it's your 21st, Venus, your 23rd. Does this get old hat, or do you get the butterflies? Is the excitement always there leading up to it?
The excitement's always there. I mean, it's the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I hit the ground yesterday. I was so excited. I just got here. I was pumped to go to practice today. It's a whole different feeling, even just training, than training at home. And we're excited. It's almost here. We're ready to go.
So I know this one obviously comes with extra emotion. You've just made an announcement that caused a lot of buzz. You're evolving and taking a step back from tennis. How are you feeling in this moment?
I have so much excitement to feel. I'm excited for the evolution of Serena. I'm excited to see what happens next and to also be at home for the first time and relax, I think, and work and just have fun.
A lot of us have really enjoyed reading your article. I know you talked with Meghan Markle, and you said something that resonated with a lot of us, which is sometimes you'll see things and you'll feel emotional or you'll cry, you'll see a butterfly. Talk to me about those feelings. It was so relatable when you say you feel just kind of a little emotional these days.
Well, this whole journey is going to be emotional. I love what I do. It's nothing about me not loving my job. I love it. I've been playing it my whole entire life. So it's very emotional to evolve into something new.
And to that point, I grew up with older brothers. I've always wanted a sister, someone to talk with. I've just never experienced that. But you two have had each other forever. So did you discuss this decision? I mean, was there advice going back and forth?
We don't talk much tennis, but I did ask Venus some questions about next year. But yeah, we don't. We'll keep that here with us.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you had any advice.
For Serena?
Yes, after she made this decision.
It's still business. Like, she still wants to play. She still wants to win. When she walks on the court, she wants to be focused. So this is the moment now for her to do that, like all the other moments. And then when that moment is over, then the next moment will be here. So
yeah,
that's it. That's what it is.
Talk to me about the joys of motherhood finally as we round up this conversation. Tell me how, when you get home, I thought it was so interesting that you said you've never really been away from her for more than 24 hours.
I read you have to have a baby. If you have a baby, they have to fit in your life. You shouldn't change your life. And so that's hard. It's super hard because there's so many things that change, but even though those changes happen, they still have to fit in your life. You don't want to just lose who you are. So for me, that's kind of how it is. Like, she fits in my life. We do a lot of things together. We have a lot of fun, and then it works.
Do you want more kids?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Venus, you're quite the Renaissance woman. I mean, I don't know how you do what you do on the tennis court and then go into fashion and interior design. And now you're the EP on a new Hallmark movie, Game, Set, Love. Did you get the bug? Do you want to do more EPing?
It's my favorite thing. I'm a behind the scenes kind of girl. I think I was telling you ladies, like, oh yeah, I don't do a lot of interviews. So I definitely love the whole behind the scenes thing. I think Serena does too.
My last question, if I were able to give you a crystal ball, let's say 5 years from now, and you look into this crystal ball, what do you see? What do you hope to see?
Well, I would definitely not get the crystal ball if you gave it to me, because I don't.
You wouldn't want it?
I don't do that or believe in that. So yeah, no, I just think that whatever happens, it's going to be a surprise, and I'm ready for it.
Hey there, everyone. It's time for another episode of Pop Start Plus. On today's show, our visit with the cast of the new Lord of the Rings series. They're going to take us inside the highly anticipated expansion of the hit franchise. Plus, did you hear that Stranger Things tallied 13 Emmy nominations this year, including Outstanding Drama Series? Just ahead, our conversation with Brett Gelman, who plays the hilarious Murray on the show. And nobody puts baby in the corner. Dirty Dancing just turned 35 years old, if you can believe it. We're going to bring you an interview from our vault with the late, great Patrick Swayze. But first, here's Carson with today's Pop Star.
First up on Pop Start, lots to get to today. House of the Dragon. Remember how we told you yesterday? It seemed like literally everybody was watching this show, the premiere on Sunday night. Well, it turns out that was the case. The premiere of Game of Thrones, the prequel series here, racked up nearly 10 million views, the biggest audience for any new original series in HBO's history. And despite a few technical hiccups with network streaming app, the debut episode made House of the Dragon the longest trending topic on Twitter. It was ranked #1 for 14 straight hours. Let's take a look at what folks online were saying about the premiere. One person tweeted, me 35 seconds into House of the Dragon. Along with this one, this is the meme of Michael Scott. No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again. Another fan writing, I'm someone who was severely disappointed with the final season of Game of Thrones, and this was exceptional. If the rest of the season keeps this level of quality, wow. And if you missed that first episode, you have until this Sunday to catch up. New episodes are going to air weekly until the season finale on October 23rd. Did you guys see it? Anybody see it yet?
I'm going to.
Dying to
It's my
see it.
cue.
Next up, Harry Styles, the pop superstar, has landed on the first ever global cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And inside the issue, Harry opening up about his acting career, what it's like having his love life in the spotlight, and about finding a new audience with his #1 single, As It Was. Harry telling the magazine how a surprising number of men stop him on the street to talk about that track. Of course, we all remember our packed plaza.
Yeah.
Our fans were rocking out to that one when we were kicking off our concert series back in May. And even though his new music has only been out for a few months, Harry's also revealing that he's already working on his next album, sharing how he and his collaborators are already workshopping new ideas, saying, I think all of us are so excited to get back to it, which feels insane because we just put out. No, that's when you know you're on a roll.
Yeah,
exactly. You just can't stop writing hits. We don't know where he finds the time to do all of his writing. Harry's currently in the middle of a 15-show residency right down the street here at Madison Square Garden, where he's going to be until late September before moving on to a series of concerts in Chicago and LA. Maybe he should swing by the karaoke bus.
Yeah, there you go.
Take a shot at it. Next up, Mick Jagger. There probably aren't many times when you can look at a rock and roll icon and say to yourself, well, this is actually relatable. But perhaps jamming out at a Coldplay concert is our great unifier. Take a look. Shot at Wembley. That's insane. That was yesterday.
Amazing.
Mick Jagger tweeted that video yesterday saying, well, way up in the stands there, that's at Wembley Stadium, obviously Coldplay's concert, and even the Rolling Stones legend. Kind of cool to see him having a moment when Fix You comes on like the rest of us do.
Wow. What a compliment, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. And finally, the home edit. Just last week, Clea Scherer of the famous organizing duo stopped by today to share an update on her battle with breast cancer, and also to give us a sneak peek at a very special edition of the Home Edit magazine. It features our very own Savannah Guthrie's kitchen makeover, and now this morning we have a first look at that fall issue cover, and there it is. Inside you can check out how the team was able to make Savannah's kitchen more cooking friendly and find fresh tips and tricks to help organize your home through some cool real life projects. The magazine is available for pre-order starting today.
And of course, there's more to know because this is Pop Start Plus, after all. First up, Saturday Night Live. This week, a group of SNL alums sat down with Entertainment Weekly to look back on their time at the iconic show. Kate McKinnon, Maya Rudolph, Seth Meyers, Amy Poehler, and Martin Short all joined the chat. The Only Murders in the Building star took a moment to address some retirement rumors that have been swirling around the internet about his co-star and fellow SNL alum, Steve Martin.
Do you really think Steve Martin is going to retire after this?
No, he's not retiring. In fact, he was just being facetious. They said, "Are you thinking of retiring?" He said, "Well, I have my 12th book. I'm on a TV series, and I tour around with Marty Short. So if this is retirement, I guess I've retired." That's what he meant. He's not retiring.
Phew. All right, so there is hope for A Father of the Bride Part 3. Finally, Lea Michele, the Glee actress, is the greatest star in a first look at her performance as Fanny Bryce for Funny Girl on Broadway. Over the weekend, the production released a new video featuring Lea singing one of the musical's iconic numbers.
Who is all ginger and jazz? Who is as glamorous as? Who's an American Beauty rose with an American Beauty nose and 10 American Beauty toes? Hey, Mr. Ziegfeld, here I am.
Leah's only got a few weeks of rehearsal left. She's set to take the stage on September 6th. And that is the latest for you today. Coming up, The Lord of the Rings, the new show invades Studio 1A.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. And who's this?
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. And who's this?
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. And who's this?
NBC News, streaming free now.
Welcome back to Pop Start Plus. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, transports viewers thousands of years before the events in the beloved books. And the cast of the new series stopped by 1A to tell us what fans can expect.
We are back with more stars from The Lord of the Rings of Power. It's a new series that's about to shake up the TV landscape. To say it's big would be a gross understatement, boasting massive sets, 22 regular cast members, and 2 of them are here with us this morning. Ismael Cruz Cordova, Benjamin Walker. They are bringing the world of the elves to life, showing us peacetime in Middle-earth. But the king knows that peace can be fragile.
If the elves abandon Middle-earth now, the armies of darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples. If the hope of preventing that is not reason enough to make you reconsider your oath, I suggest you find another.
I suggest.
Pretty good.
Ismael, Benjamin, good morning to both. As I said during the commercial break coming in, I started watching the series last night, and I know why my Prime membership went up.
Worth every bit.
They spared no expense. I mean, it is a big, massive production, and the 2 of you are phenomenal in it. The elf ears. Let's talk about the ears. I mean, were you fans of the ears going in?
Oh, I loved it. I did too, man.
Yeah.
I loved it. I have these tiny ears as well.
Yeah.
And I always got teased, my family, for it. So I felt that I have finally had real ears.
Yeah.
Normal ears. Yeah, normal ears.
and the language, the elvish language that you have to learn.
Sure.
Give me a sample of.
Sure. All right.
Penelia esse candela canta.
It's very offensive.
And I was going to say, can you even tell me what you said on morning television?
No, it's a curse. But it's an elvish curse, so it's beautiful while you do it.
Your character is not to give away too much, extremely regal, shall we say.
Oh, thanks.
How does one get into character for that role?
Well, I mean, we have an incredible support system. They've built me like an armored corset. As soon as you tighten that thing up, you're standing up straight.
So it helped to be in the
Yeah,
costume.
exactly, yeah. At the read-through, when you're in sweatpants, you're like, I don't feel like a king at all.
And Ismael, I know you grew up in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And I read that when you watched the original series, when you watched it growing up, it was kind of hard for you to relate to some of it.
Yeah, I mean, I always say I felt represented spiritually, emotionally, because I'm a kid from the mountains, and the elves are from the mountains, and the elves love nature, but there wasn't an image reflected back, and that was something that was hard for me, but it was a galvanizing aspect that essentially set the course for me to become what I am today.
Full disclosure, I was not. I didn't see the actual the movies, but I'd read the books. I think people can watch this series without having seen the movies and books and still fully appreciate the story.
100%. I mean, because our show's thousands of years before the movies, it's like the first chapter. It's the perfect place to start.
What do you think it is about series like this? We were just talking about Game of Thrones a few minutes ago. Series like this are beyond compelling for a lot of folks, almost obsessive. Why do you think that is?
I think the subject matter, the text, the story allows people to see themselves in there. You find something about yourself, all these aspects of humanity that transposed to fantasy. People are able to exercise all of their hopes, their fears, their potential.
My buddy Carson Daly is a huge fan of the series, and he wanted to join us. He had a...
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Oh, cool.
All right, all right, nice
Congrats
on the series.
Oh,
Awesome.
thanks for having us.
How you doing? Nice to see you.
Yeah, come on.
I see.
No, sure.
About the elf ears in the show, because how long does it take to put them on? These are my real ears.
Yeah.
It takes like an hour to cover them up at the TV show.
You got the earring on.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's beautiful. Those are beautiful.
That looks very natural, man. Very
It just accentuates your jawline.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you,
Benjamin,
man.
Ismael, thank you.
I mean, I had more questions about the ears.
Well, you know what? We got to get to the affiliates. I'm so sorry.
Do you wear the same ones every day, or?
No. They're disposable.
The Lord of the Rings.
We should mention The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power will be available on Prime Video on September 2nd. Up next, we're heading into the Upside Down with one of the stars of Stranger Things. Stay with us.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive. Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
does.
Yes. This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in York.
The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
Refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today. This is so healthy. Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
Does.
Start today.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Thanks for sticking with us here on Pop Start Plus. Stranger Things did quite well when it comes to this year's Emmy nominations. Outstanding Drama Series, just one of the 13 nominations it picked up. We recently spoke with a member of the cast about what it was like working on the latest season, Brett Gelman, who returned as fan favorite Murray.
I think Murray has very much evolved this season. He found his people more. He's a slightly less isolated, slightly less jaded person than he was in season 3, because he sort of learned what it meant to have friends. So you see that development a little bit, but he's still, he's still a bit of a grouch and a grump. Yeah, a misanthrope, as they say. We love a good critic who calls things out how they are, calls it like it is. So, and I think that that's very much a lot of what Murray's role is in this show.
It's time.
It is the darkest season. And, I mean, the approach to Murray, as I play him, I get to know him more and more. So it goes deeper and deeper. But I mean, things are always bad. My favorite part about playing Murray is that I get to be sort of the urban character amongst all these rural characters. And then he sort of brings a city vibe to it.
Это может лисы. А вот наручники на тебе, сволочь советская. Hi, Jim.
That I get to be one of the, a character of somewhat comedic relief in this action, thriller, horror series, which is a kind of character that I grew up wanting to play, and just, getting to be in these amazing action sequences and the intensity of it, while still getting to really delve into who he really is and the humor of it is just the best. Getting to be in the Duffer Brothers world that they created as this character.
What? Do me a favor and move your lover's quarrel elsewhere, okay?
This, not a lover's quarrel, pal.
Spare me!
What is your problem?
Please, stop talking!
No!
I can't tell you much about what Murray and Joyce are up to in it, but working with Winona is it's a childhood dream. She's one of the greatest actresses and movie stars of all time, and it's amazing to me that I can call Winona Ryder a friend of mine. That's just it's one of those just bizarre things of pinching myself that this is my life. And we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun when we work together. She is one of the kindest people and so funny. And so getting to be working with her on this almost every day that I worked on this show was just an amazing treat.
Scoops Troop, this is Bald Eagle.
I've reached another junction.
This is what?
The fourth junction.
All right, so if memory serves, this is right after the My Little Pony thesis.
We went left, so he has to go right.
Fly right, Bald Eagle.
Fly right. Roger that. Flying right. Little
Seeing the teens' growth has been amazing. They're really just a great bunch of people. Really just so incredibly talented and nice and professional and fun to be around. So to see that they haven't become disaster people, it's nice to see that has not happened and that they've all stayed grounded. It's amazing. I'm really grateful that the Duffer Brothers wrote me more stuff in the show, and that they made Murray's characters, Murray's involvement in the show grow. and it's insane. You forget it, because when you're working on the show, it just feels like family, you know, that we're just all, you know, cast and crew. It's like we're here to do a job and get it done and have a good time together. When you step away and you are reminded just how massive the show is. I am the most excited for people to see me, you know, just do amazing acting in this season. It's really remarkable, and I think that people will really enjoy my performance in a way that they haven't ever before. So that's very exciting to me. I'm really excited to. I just really, this season, I think it's the best season, and I think the other 3 seasons have been amazing. But I think this is everything, like the upped to the millionth degree. It is scarier, more action-packed, and funnier than previous seasons, and there is such an amazing balance of all of that. I mean, it's just like it's really awesome.
Such a good one there. Next, we are revisiting an absolute classic in honor of its 35th anniversary, Dirty Dancing.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
And what do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
News is happening now.
To look at what's making headlines around the world.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
This is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Welcome back to Pop Star Plus. It is hard to believe, but this week marks 35 years since the release of Dirty Dancing. The film stars Patrick Swayze as Johnny and Jennifer Grey as Baby. And we get to watch what happens when you combine romance and dancing at a vacation resort. Check out this throwback interview from our vault with the late, great Patrick Swayze opening up about the beloved film's message.
The last time we had a chance here to speak with actor Patrick Swayze, he was hoping to combine his skills as an actor, dancer, and singer, and a little over a year later, now he has. In the film Dirty Dancing. Welcome back. Good seeing you.
Good to be here.
Is the role as ideal as I've portrayed it to be?
Ideal as you, well, I get to dance.
And you get to sing? You did a little music in this too,
yeah,
right?
I wrote one of the songs for it.
Yeah?
Yeah, now that I've given up being Mr. Rockstar, I'm moving through the back door and writing music for the stuff I do.
How long ago was that an ambition to be a rock star? I mean, we're talking more than 10 years.
10 minutes ago. But, no, actually, it was recent that I had to, assess my priorities and get realistic, like, give up rock star or I'll have to, how can I be an actor and go on tour and that kind of thing.
Yeah, got to support yourself.
Yeah.
Who's Johnny Castle? I mean, you play Johnny Castle in this film. Who is he?
He's a low-class kind of guy from South Philadelphia that's good with the ladies, and in return he gets gold bracelets and silk shirts, and it's set in 1963, and he went to Arthur Murray School of Dance to have a way to do this stuff and make a living, and doesn't feel real good about himself and runs into this hot little number who's just about ready to grow up, and I'm going to get myself in deep, so...
No. Did he remind you at all of a middle-class guy from Houston who took up dancing early and wasn't really sure it's what he wanted to do? And
yeah, lower middle-class guy from Houston. Yeah, and trying to sort it out. And
we'll let everybody in on that. You're from Houston, and yeah, you took it up early. And I just called it middle class, but you say...
Well, yeah, lower middle class.
Yeah. So the film then had some poignant moments for you. I mean, you kind of saw yourself in Johnny a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, that was a level of identification for me that, you know, I grew up not having it be too easy to be a dancer in Texas.
Why, they thought that was a little swishy?
Yeah, you're bound to be weird if you dance. So on that level, I could identify with Johnny. I didn't go to Arthur Murray School of Dance to learn ballroom dancing, but
yeah. In this film, though, you teach Baby Houseman, who is Jennifer Grey. You teach her how to dance. In this case, since you were the one who was professionally trained in this and for a long time, did art imitate life?
Well, yeah, because you know, like the fun part about this kind of dancing is like your bodies have to really become one in order to move as one. So, in other words, I had to learn how to be a real good partner in order to lead correctly.
Let's show a clip, because in this one you're doing some of the work with Jennifer, but I think this one's at sea.
Did you learn to be a dancer?
Well, this guy came into this luncheonette one day, and you know, we were all sitting around doing nothing, and he said that Arthur Murray was giving a test for instructors. So, if you passed, they teach you all these different kinds of dances, show you how to break them down, how to teach them, you know.
What? No.
No, slow it down. Right here.
If you'll be my girl. Hey, baby. I wanna know.
What is Dirty Dancing supposed to say to today's teens about those of 25 years ago?
Well, I don't know. You can always, I guess, not to believe what mommy and daddy and social standards tell you, that you are stuck in this little box and can never get out of it, but that you can have your dreams come true. That we all can, if you work hard enough. I think that's what Baby teaches Johnny. You know, that he believes he's going to always be a street kid. You know, and that's all he'll ever be, no matter what he does. And they help each other. I think we all have that person in our lives, somewhere in our memory, that we sort of hold dear. You know, this person that passed through our lives for one moment and was gone, but you'll never forget.
Sounds like you.
Is that a good enough answer?
No, it's a good answer. Sounds like you want to be a rock star again.
Yeah, it does.
Patrick, it's good seeing you. Come on back and visit us.
Okay.
All these years later, that movie still pulls at people's heartstrings. That's all for today's Pop Start Plus. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a good one.
Welcome to Today All Day.
All day?
Today, all day.
All day. This is a long way of asking who's your favorite character you've ever played? The unicorn. The unicorn. You gotta have the unicorn.
What is she right there? That's why you're saying all these nice things?
Yeah, she gave me the look. Sorry to disturb your day. Everyone's mad at you, Willie.
Better make this fast. I don't want the wrath of Luna.
When I see you, I always think, I wonder what his quote would be.
Give us 6 minutes and we'll ask as many questions as we can.
Welcome to Cold Cuts. Cold Cut. Cold Cut.
My buddy Cal cooking with me.
Dads don't babysit. It's called parenting.
What was the first book you remember loving?
Heart Smart Today, with simple exercises to strengthen your heart.
Make the most of your beach days.
It's all about the tracksuit now. How good do they look?
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Kiss the bride.
This morning, a story of people helping people.
You've received tons of letters from people who have been inspired.
Let's do the weather out. Okay. All you gotta do is say, it's cold, it's warm, it's raining, it's snowing. That's it.
One of our most favorite franchises ever, Ambush Makeovers.
Okay?
Look at it. It doesn't look so good.
No, it doesn't look good.
Will you judge us in a cook-off?
I will, and you guys will definitely win something.
Today, all day.
All day?
All day.
Welcome to Today, all day. A big hello to our friends watching Today All Day, and welcome to the digital show we call Today in 30.
You are watching our half-hour wrap-up of everything from this morning's show, including dangerous storms that knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of people and now are on the move. We will bring you the very latest, and Dylan has your full forecast.
Also ahead, we'll have a reaction to Meghan Markle's new bombshell interview, and let's just say she didn't hold back when it comes to her time as a working royal, her and Prince Harry's decision to move to the U.S., and much more. Joe Fryer will have that story.
And what could be better than puppies on the plaza? We had some furry friends join us as we push to clear the shelters. We'll show you how you can help, and we've got some great tips if you're looking to add a new pet to the family.
All right, all that and much more coming up right now on
Today in 30.
We begin with NBC's Guad Venegas, who joins us now from Mississippi. Guad, good morning.
Good morning, Chanel. The folks here in Jackson and its surrounding areas were preparing for major flooding, which wasn't as bad as anticipated. Now, with that good news came the bad news. The governor declaring a water system emergency, which could mean for the capital city that a lot of people will be without running water.
Severe weather impacting millions nationwide, including the Midwest, where powerful winds gusting up to 80 miles per hour knocked out power to nearly 700,000 across the region. The winds downing trees and power lines in Minnesota and Illinois and grounding more than 300 flights out of Chicago's O'Hare Airport. In Mississippi, nearly 200,000 residents in Jackson are facing a potential crisis, a water system severely damaged by the latest flooding. State officials now preparing for a colossal challenge, providing enough water for everyone in the state's capital.
This is not a small lift.
The news hitting just as the Pearl River begins to recede, causing less extensive damage than had been forecast. Floodwaters sparing homes, but now presenting another threat.
Do we have any idea of the number of residents or homes where they won't be able to flush the toilet or, say, shower tonight?
Can't tell you with certainty what the water pressure issues are going to be for any of those residents.
The recent flooding is taking a toll on a system that was already in bad shape. Residents now fear going from bad water quality to no water at all.
I feel sorry for the residents here because they know that this has been happening for years and nothing's being done about it.
A city facing one challenge after another, with a water shortage now following the flooding.
Now, government officials say they do have a team, a state team, entering that water plant here in Jackson today to try and see what is going on and see how they can help. Now, here's what's alarming. They can't tell us how many residents are without running water. What we do know is that officials here are preparing to bring in water for everyone in the city. We're talking drinking water and non-potable water that is necessary for all of these basic necessities. Chanel.
Quite the challenge there. All right, Guad, thank you.
Dylan is in for Al this morning, tracking the risk potentially of even more severe weather today. Dylan, good morning.
Good morning, guys. And while we do have some rain possible down along the Gulf Coast, the place we're watching today will be through the eastern Great Lakes. Yesterday, we saw wind reports near 80 miles per hour in northern Indiana. That did cause some tree damage and some of that wind damage out that way. But as this moves to the east, we are looking for the chance of some storms across the northeast, but nothing extremely severe at this point. point. While we will see the possibility of some storms producing wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, a lot of these will fizzle out as they move eastward. But just want to point out the location of this. By 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, right along that I-95 corridor, could slow things down on the roads for the evening commute. Also create some delays in Philadelphia, at Baltimore International Airport, also down through D.C. too. But still down through the Gulf Coast, we have this stalled front, and that is going to produce some spotty showers. And since the ground is totally saturated, any additional rain could lead to more flooding. We're also going to see about 1 to 2 inches of rain across the interior Northeast. But keep in mind, the Northeast does need the rain. So that's where we could see some welcome rain. It's down south where we certainly don't need it anymore. Chanel.
All right. Thank you, Dylan. There are new twists in the FBI search of Donald Trump's Florida home. The Justice Department has now completed its initial review of documents that were seized. So how will that shape the investigation? NBC senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson has the latest. Hallie, good morning.
Hey, Chanel, good morning to you. The Justice Department is set to respond today to this latest legal back and forth over whether an independent third party should review that classified material. That's something former President Trump wants, even as new details this morning could undercut Mr. Trump's push, and concerns a special master could slow down the investigation's progress. A new phase this morning in the Justice Department's investigation into classified documents former President Trump had at his Mar-a-Lago home, with DOJ lawyers confirming they've done an initial review of what was there and have identified some material that could be considered protected under attorney-client privilege. That could undermine the Trump team's request to have a so-called special master do a kind of third-party review of the hundreds of pages of sensitive documents.
There's still a need for a judge to get involved on every aspect of this, checking their assertions of privilege, but also giving us fair, timely access, letting us build a case for why this search warrant was not only essentially morally wrong, but legally wrong.
Some legal experts suggest the former president's team may have waited too long to ask for an independent party to get involved.
Now that the documents have mostly been reviewed, you cannot put that toothpaste back in the tube. So the reason for a special master becomes diminished.
A special master could still come to different conclusions than the DOJ's initial review team did, with the judge set to rule on that soon after suggesting last week she was inclined to appoint one. It comes as Mr. Trump is again lashing out at the FBI and rehashing the 2020 election he lost, demanding to be declared the rightful winner despite his defeat, and calling for a new election immediately, although federal law, not former officials, determines federal election dates. And now new fallout for a key Trump ally, Senator Lindsey Graham, facing backlash after these comments Sunday.
If there's a prosecution of Donald Trump for mishandling classified information, there'll be riots in the streets.
That type of rhetoric is irresponsible.
Graham now trying to clarify.
I reject violence. I'm not calling for violence. Violence is not the answer.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. I appreciate
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Now to an interview with Meghan Markle. What she has to say certainly has a lot of people talking this morning.
Yeah, she was very candid about her time as a working royal, the tensions inside the royal family, and her and Prince Harry's decision to leave the UK.
And its timing is drawing some criticism as well. Released just 2 days before the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death. NBC News Now anchor Joe Fryer has more on what Markle had to say. Joe?
Good morning. We've been hearing a lot from Meghan Markle recently with her new hit Spotify podcast launching last week. But this morning, she's speaking out again with a new interview that is already making waves, just as the spotlight is on Prince Harry and the royal family as they mark 25 years after the death of Princess Diana. Now she's ready for her own next act. That's the large text at the top of Meghan Markle's new interview with New York Magazine's The Cut. She's once again generating headlines with frank comments about the royal family and the reason she and Harry stepped back from royal duties. The article comes just before the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death on Wednesday.
It's come out in all the newspapers this morning. Of course, a lot of attention is being put on Diana's legacy, 25 years on. So I think some people are puzzled by the timing.
Headlines in England quick to slam the interview and Markle. The Cut article starts off with the line, "The conditions are right for confession." And confess Meghan Markle did, including her family's lack of autonomy while under royal rule. Markle shares she was required to release photos of her son Archie to the Royal Rota, the UK media pool, before she could post them herself. She says, quote, "Why would I give the very people that are calling my children the N-word a photo of my child before I can share it with the people that love my child?" Markle also discussing family struggles, including her own rift with her father, telling the magazine, "Harry said to me, I lost my dad in this process." Her allies later clarifying that Harry was discussing Meghan's dad, Thomas Markle, though he has spoken out about his strained relationship with Prince Charles.
You just said that your dad stopped taking your calls. Why did he stop taking your calls?
Because I took matters into my own hands.
Meghan added this week, "It doesn't have to be the same for them as it was for me, but that's his decision." Meghan and Harry have both said they left England seeking a more private life.
Everyone has a basic right to privacy.
But with the attention-grabbing new interview and regular new podcast episodes from that reported $25 million deal with Spotify, the Sussexes are making it clear they want to control their own story. Meghan Markle also teased she might be getting back on Instagram, something she says she had to give up when she married Harry. We've reached out to the palace for comment on the Cut interview, but have not heard back. Back to you guys.
All right, Joe, thank you.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
top story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We're back with a fascinating story about artificial intelligence now being used to bridge the technology and art world.
Yeah, this is so cool. A new program is taking the internet by storm with the power to come up with completely original images based on words alone. NBC's Gotti Schwartz has more on the software that's painting a new picture for our world. Hey, Gotti.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, we've been told a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Well, DALL-E 2 is an artificial intelligence program that lets you type in just a few words and get absolutely mind-blowing images. And this morning, the company that created DALL-E 2 is giving us a closer look.
From a vintage photograph of flying cars in New York City to ancient hieroglyphics of an Egyptian animal god using a computer, or a picture of a giraffe on a jet ski. For us humans, these are fun, far-fetched art that might take hours to make. But to DALL-E 2, an artificial intelligence program, this is all child's play created in a matter of seconds.
Whoa, that's kind of weird.
Type something like cat on a pillow, award-winning photograph, and in less than a minute, DALL-E 2 will scan its database of over 650 million images to create a completely original picture that brings your idea to life.
That looks super realistic. It feels like you've created a magic pencil here that can literally make any work of art you want, just with a few words.
Just your imagination is the limit.
A computer that's unlocked the ability to visualize what's never been seen, like photos of minions hosting the Today Show, an elephant reading the news, or a stunning portrait of an alien as if shot by Annie Leibovitz. But cutting human artistic ability out of artistry has a lot of people asking, what does this mean for the art world?
Is there concern about DALL-E taking the job of artist?
I think of DALL-E as a creative tool. So really a tool that artists collaborate with.
OpenAI is just one of scores of tech companies fusing art with artificial intelligence. Some using it to help render video games. Others are writing screenplays, like this eyebrow-raising horror movie for Netflix called Mr. Puzzles Wants You to Be Less Alive. This month, TikTok unveiling its user-generated AI art backgrounds.
This is our applied research team.
But at OpenAI, Mira Murati says with the development of such powerful tech should come the responsibility of quelling the spread of deepfakes and disinformation.
We hope that we can help set some standards in the industry and collaborate with others to make sure that those standards are reasonable.
OpenAI says they are very selective on who has access to its program, and once inside, there are guidelines, including no recognizable faces.
Al Roker doing the weather. Looks like this request may not follow our content policy. So it saw that I was trying to put in a celebrity there.
Yes.
And it flagged it.
That's right.
Still, critics say that's not enough to prevent greater misuse.
I think maybe that helps them sleep well at night, but it doesn't really address the problem because the next DALL-E will be just as capable.
For now, though, there is little regulation on AI. So when it comes to the tech powering DALL-E and others,
oh my gosh, look at that.
The cat seems to be out of the bag.
And guys, as bizarre as all this might seem, chances are very high that kids learning art right now in grade school are going to be using this almost like a calculator in the very near future. And hopefully with all that will come a lot more conversations about ethics and deepfakes and possibly some regulation. Guys?
Every time we do one of these stories and it feels so new and foreign, and just give it a matter of time, Gotti, and you're right, our kids talk about it like it's no big deal. So it's coming.
So there has to be regulation, you know, like going forward with
that was good.
Deep fakes and everything.
Yeah.
Gotti, thank you.
Take a look at these adorable faces. All of their hearts are beating. Each of these puppies is up for adoption, and we're hoping to find them forever homes. I know we can do this today. This will be easy, right? To get these little guys homes.
Look at these cute little guys.
Yeah, Clear the Shelters is an annual nationwide pet adoption campaign spearheaded by local NBC and Telemundo stations. And since it started, get this, in 2015, it's helped about 800,000 pets find new homes.
So awesome. We're going to introduce you to these puppies in just a moment. But first, expert dog trainer Tom Davis has some adoption tips and tricks. Tom, good morning. Good to see you.
Morning.
How are you? So if I'm a family right now, I'm watching, I'm thinking about adopting a pet, what kind of sort of checklist should I go through about myself and my family and my home before I do it?
It's a good question. I think the first thing is time.
do you have enough time in your family? Does your family have enough time to allocate towards a new dog? I mean, bringing home a new family member, such as a dog, takes lots of responsibility. You got to think about your travel schedule too. What's your work like? How often are you gone?
So what about if you already have a dog at home and you want to adopt a new dog? How do you make sure that that transition goes okay?
It's a great question. So when you're transitioning to a new dog, it's one thing as a behavioral standpoint we get a lot is, are they going to get along? You want to make sure that you take your time. So you want to meet on neutral grounds, slowly start to develop your dog in, and just take your time with that gradually.
Somewhere like in a park or something?
Neutral grounds, you go for a walk down the road, you start gradually going to the front yard, and then you can start incrementally, go inside.
And I feel like we see this a lot, but there are a lot of families around the country where the kids want a dog, right?
Yeah.
And then the parents get it. Any advice? Because what happens is sometimes mom and dad end up doing all the work, or they get a dog where the temperament doesn't necessarily fit the family.
Yeah.
What's your best advice?
It's a great question, and that's something that the shelters unfortunately have to deal with a lot, is making sure you get the right dog for you and your family.
Yeah.
Some of these dogs have unfortunately gone through some traumatic events, so yeah, exactly. So they may be fearful, they may be timid. If you have 6 or 7 kids in a revolving door, maybe getting a puppy, might be a better fit for you and your family.
Right.
So, Tom, Roscoe here, he's 8 years old, but I love him because he's so chill, he's not crazy. So my question is that if there's an older dog, it's got a couple miles on it, right?
Yeah.
You should still adopt it because it could be the right temperament for your family.
Absolutely. Actually, older dogs are my favorite because, especially with Roscoe, he's already house trained, so he's ready to go. And he's the type of dog that would go for a walk. He'd also hang it on the couch. He's ready to go.
So that's Roscoe. Who do I have here?
Right, that's Mara right there. So Mara's a purebred Maltese. And Mara is actually very, very playful, very, very friendly, loves to go on walks, and actually loves to hang out on the couch and cuddle. So you can't really go wrong with that.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And this guy just seems like he wants to snuggle all day long.
Yeah, that's Hershey.
This is Hershey. Perfect name.
Yeah, so Hershey's 8 weeks old. So Hershey's actually the youngest dog we have out here. And so with a blank slate like Hershey, this dog's ready to go. It's going to be great for an active young family.
Wants to play.
So yeah, Hershey's ready to go as a puppy.
This guy Loki is so cute and so chill in my arms right here on television. Tell me about Loki.
Come here. Loki's 1-year-old Yorkie mix. He was rescued from a high kill shelter in a rural shelter.
Aww.
So he's great with other dogs, as you can see. They're playing around. He's great with kids, and he's a smaller dog, so he would do really well in an environment like the city. He doesn't need a huge backyard like maybe some of the other dogs do. Yeah,
he's great. His temperament's amazing.
Yeah,
he's hanging out with me.
They're all amazing.
And Tom, you've got a dog with you as well, right?
Yeah, this is my buddy Bear. So Bear is actually a medium-sized dog with lots of energy. So Bear's 1 year old. He's a black lab mix, but he pretty much looks like a black lab to me. I don't know about you guys. Yeah. But Bear is a dog that would do well with an active family. Loves going for hikes. Loves going for walks. This is a dog that will love to play with fetch. So this is a fun dog for those people out there looking for an active dog.
How do you know when you get a dog from a shelter if they're up to date with their vaccines and their shots and all the stuff that goes into getting a new dog?
Well, that's the beauty of the shelter. I mean, these guys volunteer sometimes their whole life to make sure that these guys are well taken care of, don't fall over, well taken care of. So the shelters and the rescue organizations take care of all of that. So when you're adopting, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And to be honest, a lot of that stuff's already covered as far as expenses go.
And Tom, you're a trainer. You get a dog home that's, a few months old. Yeah. The dogs can be trained, right? Even regardless of what they've been through until they got to your home.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Hershey, for an example, was actually born in the shelter. So this dog was born in the shelter. Mom has actually found a home, but Hershey has 6 brothers and sisters that actually need a home. So again, as a trainer who works with behavior, works with training, this is a dog that's perfect. And Roscoe, he's 8 years old, but he's a dog that would also do really well with training.
Can you train him to babysit children?
Well, I haven't figured that out yet.
Yes.
I have a newborn myself, so I'll let you know when I figure that out.
So folks want these dogs and others, where do they go? Is there a specific place?
Yeah, so the shelter information is going to be linked up on the screen.
On today.com.
These guys are from the SPCA here locally.
All right.
Tom, thank you so much. These are great dogs.
Guys, check this out. This year's Clear the Shelters campaign, it's already led to nearly 90,000 adoptions, and we want to keep that number climbing. For more on where to find participating shelters in your area and rescues, head to today.com.
All right. I know. You want to come home with me?
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Made all the difference. All right, summer is winding down. A lot of kids already back in the classroom, and it can be tough to get back into that morning routine. So we enlisted the help of an expert.
Yeah, Shannon Doherty, you may remember her from 90210. No, we're just joking. We know you get that a lot. She's known as At Home with Shannon to her 2 million followers on TikTok. She's sharing some super simple ideas for parents. Shannon, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
I'm here for all of this. I'm like, this looks great.
Yeah, so we know you're a mom of 4.
Yes.
I have 3. Chanel, you have 3. Dylan, 3. We all
That's a lot
have 3.
of children.
Yeah.
Good
You
Lord.
have 4. So give us some advice on how to get through the mornings.
Mornings were always the craziest for me, deciding who's going to wear what, and then I would forget if it was crazy pajama day or color day. So I started Sundays. We would go together and pick out what they were going to wear for the week. We kind of got all that argument out on Sundays so that come in the week, everything was organized in these bins, labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
did the whole
Thursday,
week.
Friday, the whole week.
Wow.
So good.
Everything's there.
And it looks good. I remember trying this one day or one year, and it was just clothes everywhere.
Right.
So this keeps
This
it.
is brilliant.
Keeps everything.
Okay.
And I put their socks, what I'm going to put in their hair, like every single thing. And then if it's sports, you just know for that day. Because otherwise you forget.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
This next thing, I'm all about. My kids are going to think they live at the Marriott. That's the thing. If you make breakfast fun, then they are likely to eat it.
Dylan and I were just talking about that. So I make this breakfast station. So my kids, they also are early risers. I can get a little extra sleep. They come down and they can start making their own breakfasts, which they love. I did these mess-free squirt milk bottles.
Is that for milk?
It's for
Yes,
milk.
mate,
So
come
they
on.
can put their
That's
milk in
smart.
it. And then this is my favorite hack. I started doing this during Valentine's Day, and I just kept it going. I write with edible markers little notes for them. I throw it in their lunchbox, or it's in our kitchen, and it just says, like, I'm bananas for you. You're a rock star. And then they know I'm thinking about them.
You're like mom of the year.
Can you just write on your tongue with that?
You probably can. They're edible.
When they're 17, it's a little embarrassing, but this is good.
Okay, now we get to some of the supplies, and it's so easy to lose lids and just everything.
4 kids, lots of supplies at my house, and we would get them mixed up, lose things, marker lids. They were always mix matching them.
Yep. Okay.
Green and yellow, vice versa. So this hack is amazing. You get some tape and you put it right on the top of the marker lid. So easy. And then you just, they don't lose
Take
that.
it out.
Take it out.
So
they know the
smart.
color.
Isn't that good? And then you're not replacing all the dried out markers.
You're not replacing dried out markers. And a little tip that we also do at my house, I have 4 kids, so every child gets a color. Every pink supply is Lala's. Every purple supply is peaches. And then they know.
Okay. That is so cool. And then what about this?
Lunchbox hacks. So I was trying to come up with ways to fit everything into their lunchboxes because they get crammed and it's hard to fit. So some little hacks. You can freeze apple juices or yogurt packs in the freezer, and then when you take them out for lunch, that's their ice pack. So you don't need an additional ice pack, and it's thawed out by lunch. So because my kids were complaining, Mom, our yogurt's too warm by lunch, but if you freeze it, it's perfect.
And good to go. You've done this. Like you take it out at 8 a.m., 7 a.m.
Okay. Early, like 7 a.m. I put it in.
And it's good to go by noon.
11 to 12, it's good to go.
You can do that with sponges too.
Yes, you wet sponges under water, you put them in little reusable baggies, put them in your freezer, and that's just a reusable hack I've been trying trying to teach my kids about saving the environment.
For ice, that's for like a ice pack?
Yeah, that's another ice pack.
And I want to just take these home.
Yeah, because kids come home with so many papers, and whether it's their stuff or stuff parents are supposed to sign.
Exactly. I would always forget, I need to sign that for my daughter. Or so now we have these mailboxes, Daddy's drop box, Mommy's mailbox. And they just, when they come home, they put it in there. I know I have to sign it, or maybe it's a special piece of artwork for them to hang on the fridge. And then in the mornings, I put it back in there and they grab it on their way out.
Shannon, these are so
Shannon,
good.
these are brilliant. Now, you've blown my mind because I really think like anyone can do these. This is so cool.
And there's one more thing about getting kids out the door with a smile on their face.
My favorite one.
What is this mirror?
The I Am mirror. So we leave this right by our front door, and every single morning before they leave, they look in the mirror. I do it too, and we just say, I am grateful. I'm a great dancer. I'm going to have the best day. And I think how they leave in the morning sets the tone for the whole day.
Chanel wants to try. Go. I saw you. I know you want to try. Go, Chanel. Go.
I am kind. I am smart. I am important. I don't know why I just turned into like that. Why?
Because my little girl. You're being a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Of course, guys.
We will see you back here tomorrow morning for another big show.
Have a great Tuesday.
Hey, today all day, coming up on hashtag cooking, Samadada is sharing her favorite dinner recipes that also make great leftovers. If you happen to be dining solo, these weeknight meals are hearty, healthy, and best of all, pretty easy to make, and you'll have a lot to share.
I just love the smell of ginger and garlic together. It reminds me of my mom. Aw. It was so cute of me. Sometimes it kind of feels like you need an occasion to cook. But guess what? You don't need to be going to a dinner party to make delicious food for yourself. Because you know what? A party for one? It's hashtag still a party. So I'm gonna show you how to get this party started with my delicious, flavorful best dal ever and a crunchy, creamy kale salad. Dal is a staple in Indian cooking. It was always on my dinner table growing up, thanks to my mom. My mom and I still shop for our lentils at Indian markets, but you can get them wherever you get your groceries. Little tip for cooking lentils, super important to always rinse them before you cook them. You want to rinse them until the water runs clear so we get rid of any debris, and then we're going to soak them. This will allow it to cook faster, and you can soak them either overnight or at least up to 30 minutes. I have my pre-soaked lentils here, and now all I'm going to do is drain the water out, like so. Get any residual lentils out. Can't leave any behind. They'll feel left out. Okay, we're gonna let these hang out for a bit while we prepare the base of our dal. I've heated my stove to medium heat, and now I'm just gonna add a little bit of olive oil. Let that heat up, and then I'll work on my onions, garlic, and ginger. Adding a bit of olive oil here. Let that heat up. And now, I'm gonna talk about my aromatics. So, onions, garlic, and ginger. I cannot imagine any dal without these basic ingredients. They're the aromatics that really impart a lot of flavor. It's gonna become really deep and rich and flavorful, especially when paired with a fat like olive oil. I've got one whole onion that I've diced here, and I'm just gonna add it into my oil. We love that sizzle. And I just wanna saute the onions until they're nice and tender and translucent. I'm adding them separately away from the ginger and garlic because I don't want these guys to burn while I cook them with onions. So while my onions are cooking, I'm gonna work on my ginger and garlic. By work on, I mean grate them. I'm using 5 cloves of garlic here because I love a garlic moment. If that scares you, you can take it down a notch, but I'm always gonna keep it up a notch. I'm just grating this on a microplane until they're nice and really fine. Grating the garlic this fine is gonna allow it to impart a lot of flavor onto this dal, especially when paired with those onions. I'm gonna be grating these forever. Don't neglect your onions, okay? You wanna make sure these are happy too. Love garlic. I love garlic. No shame in my garlic game. That's why I'm adding 5. 5 cloves. We're starting off strong. This recipe is truly one of my favorite plant-based meal options because it's super flavorful, but it's also packed with protein from the lentils, really warming spices. It's one of my favorites. I can't believe I'm microplaning and also looking at a camera. I love that for me. Okay, garlic there. Now it's time for our ginger. Again, we can't neglect our onions. We want them to be tender and translucent and a little bit golden before we add the garlic and the ginger, just so we have already some caramelization going on before we hit the garlic and onions. Microplaning the garlic and the ginger is nice because it almost forms this paste, so it's gonna be really easy to cook in with our onions as well. Going with my ginger. Ginger is super healthy for you, and actually so is garlic. I just love the smell of ginger and garlic together. It reminds me of my mom. Aw. That's so cute of me. I know my heart is warm too. Don't worry, I'm still grating this ginger. You can leave, I'll still be here grating ginger. This is why I have only one bicep on my right arm. Because of my ginger grating skills. When you cook the onions and garlic and ginger in a fat like olive oil, it's gonna really break down those flavors so it becomes super flavorful and aromatic. We want that when we're pairing it with something like a dal. I'm all done with my ginger. Got my ginger, garlic, minced, grated situation here. My onions are looking tender, translucent, a little golden around the edges. So now it's the perfect time to add my ginger and garlic. You can see how it's kind of a paste. This is gonna be great for that flavor. I'm gonna cook the garlic and ginger in with the onions until all of the flavors really incorporate and it starts to brown a little bit. It smells so good. Now that my garlic and ginger have started to brown in with the onions, I'm gonna add my masala, or my spices. My favorites to use here are my cayenne, my turmeric, cumin, and coriander. It's really important that you do roast these spices because you don't want that raw smell or that raw taste. You want it to be super well browned so that it's aromatic. It smells so good. Now that my masala smells really nice, excuse me. Now that my masala smells really nice and toasty, I'm gonna go ahead and add my tomato paste. I'm using tomato paste here because I really like to impart that really deep tomato flavor, and when you brown this tomato paste, it's gonna taste so good. When you're cooking the tomato paste, you want it to turn a very deep, dark red brick color. And again, nobody likes that raw tomato taste or smell, so you wanna really cook it through. Now that I've cooked my tomato paste in with my masala, it's time to add my crushed tomatoes. I'm using canned tomatoes here. There is no shame here. I love a canned tomato. I love convenience. You can use diced tomatoes as well. I love a canned tomato moment. I think especially if you're cooking for one, there's no reason why you shouldn't use what's already in your pantry. You want to cook these tomatoes for about 3 to 5 minutes until they reduce and darken in color. Cooking the tomatoes in with the onions, garlic, ginger, and spices is going to allow it to be a lot more flavorful. Lentils themselves don't have a ton of flavor on their own, so that's why adding all of these different ingredients and spices is going to be really delicious for the actual dal itself. I'm going to season with a bit of salt and pepper here. Now I'm going to add some vegetable broth. And now we're going to add some coconut milk. Instead of using a cream or a ghee or a butter, we're using coconut milk to give that same really delicious creamy flavor, but without the dairy. Now we're just waiting for it to come to a boil. We're just waiting. We're a little impatient, but we're waiting. We're almost there. We're making progress. I love adding coconut milk to lentils because it makes them super creamy. It looks like we're boiling. Now that we're boiling and in business, I'm gonna reduce to a simmer and let it cook for 5 more minutes. Smells so good. Now we're gonna add our lentils. We're gonna simmer this for about 30 minutes until the lentils are soft and the curry gets really nice and thick. It looks so creamy already. Just wait till it's done though. All right, see you later.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive.
Dateline, Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
It's been about 30 minutes, so you know what that means. My dal should be ready. It's looking so nice, so thick and delicious, but there are a couple more things that I want to add. I'm gonna add in a little bit of sneaky spinach. This is not really traditional, but I do like to sneak some greens in where I can. Just chopped it up. Gonna add that straight in there and stir it up until it wilts. Going in there. So you're just gonna stir the spinach in until it wilts. Look at how thick that is. It looks so good. And the green adds some nice contrast to the red and yellow lentils, so it looks really aesthetically pleasing as well. Ooh, it looks so pretty. I'm also gonna add some fresh lemon juice, just for some acidity. You've got a lot of heavy flavors here, so it's really nice to add a bit of tang at the end. Straight into my pot. We love a little lemon zing. Mix that lemon juice straight in there. I'm gonna finish this all off by adding some fresh cilantro. The tender stems are okay, but I like to remove the thicker stems because those are a bit more bitter. You can totally chop this if you'd like, but I'm just gonna tear it roughly. Because I kinda like those big pieces of cilantro. Oh, it's so pretty. Almost too pretty to eat. Keyword almost. And now it's time for me to serve myself. This dal is super versatile because you can eat it straight up as a soup, or you can also serve it with some naan or some rice. Look at how thick that is too. Ooh, it's so creamy. Here's my sneaky spinach. Can't leave them behind. And then to garnish, I'm just gonna add a little bit more cilantro on top. Just a little for the picture, you know? This looks so pretty. I have to send a picture to my mom. She's gonna be so proud of me. Oh, and I gotta get that naan and rice in there too. This is such a party for one. Like, I love this for me. This is an amazing dish because it stores really well too, so you can totally freeze it or keep it in the fridge for up to a week. I think it is time for me to taste it. I'm gonna go in straight up. I think my mom and I need to have a doll-off. It was really good. I think this would impress her. Don't mind me while I take another few bites of this dal, but next I'm going to show you a kale salad that you are absolutely going to love. So good.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
NBC News, streaming free now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm gonna bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today.
We are going to start with some good news.
Doesn't it just feel good to be back to school?
It does.
Yes.
This is so healthy.
Here's what's happening in York. The crowd is ready. SG, you ready?
Refresh and reorganize for fall.
Start today.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody good, and that's it.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
You might be thinking, another kale salad? Sama, did we really need another kale salad? And to that, I say yes, we need this one. It is my favorite creamy, crunchy, savory kale salad that's really gonna make you want to eat your greens. The first step that we're gonna do to make this salad is make our croutons. This is a great way to use up any of your leftover stale bread. Your stale bread is not destined for the trash, it's destined to be croutons. All right, here's my loaf of bread. I'm just gonna slice this up, dice it a bit, and then we're gonna season it. When you're slicing bread, always remember to use a serrated knife so that I can cut through the bread a lot easier. So I really like nice, thick, and crunchy croutons, so I'm gonna cut the bread slices pretty thick so we can get it there. Should be good. Now I'm just gonna dice up these slices of bread. There's nothing better than a crouton in a salad. It really just adds that nice, crunchy, savory element. Plus, I will really just eat bread like whenever I can get an opportunity. This is a great opportunity. Sourdough croutons are my favorite because it's got that nice tang, and with the savory elements that we're gonna add, like the spices, it's gonna be so good. I'm one of those people that likes the end piece of a loaf of bread. They exist. I'm one of them. Now that I've got my croutons, all I'm gonna do is drizzle them with some olive oil and then season with salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes. Seasoning with some salt, some pepper. You can use your favorite seasonings here as well, but I love these three. Now I'm just gonna toss them. And you know what? This is a dinner for one, me being the one. So I'm just gonna toss this with my hands. Make sure the olive oil and spices really nicely coat the bread. These look nice and evenly seasoned, so now I'm just gonna transfer them to my parchment lined pan. I want to make sure that these are nice and spread out so they get a really crisp and even bake. So I might even reserve some of these to bake off later so I can get that nice crisp crouton. Now I'm just going to throw them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes at 425 degrees. Make sure you stir them once during baking.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen to the full season now.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Well, guess what? My croutons are done. They look nice and golden and crisp. So I'm just gonna let them hang out and cool while I make my dressing. For the base of my salad dressing, I'm using tahini. If you don't know what tahini is, it's simply sesame seeds that have been ground up into a paste that's similar in texture to a peanut butter. It is my favorite savory grounding base for sauces and dressings. To my tahini, I'm gonna add a little bit of mustard, just for a bit of flavor. I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil, just a little. I'm gonna add some fresh lemon juice to this dressing to balance out the earthiness of the tahini. I also love a little tang in my dressings. It's gonna be so good. You want your salad dressing to be really bright and flavorful, especially when we're pairing it with a tougher green like a kale. All right, my lemon is in. I'm gonna whisk this a bit. Now I'm gonna add some of my spices. Got some freshly ground black pepper. Some salt. And for a little bit of spice, this seems to be the trend, some red pepper flakes. Now I'm just gonna whisk all of this together. You'll notice that this dressing is starting to seize, which means that it's becoming a little bit difficult to mix. So all we're gonna do is add a little bit of cold water to help everything come together. You can add more or less water to get the dressing to your desired consistency. To me, a tahini-based dressing is really similar to a Caesar dressing, so I really like to use it on kale because there's nothing better than a really delicious kale Caesar. Look at how creamy this is. And no dairy. This looks really delicious and creamy to me. So I'm gonna set this aside and get to work on my kale. To prepare my kale, all I'm gonna do is remove these tough stems. I don't love these stems because they're a little bit too fibrous, so I really don't want them at my party. You can just tear it straight off and discard the stems. You could use a knife to chop this up, but tearing it is a lot more fun. Kale is a really good salad green because it's got all of these ridges that allow the dressing to really get all up in there. See ya. I like to keep the kale in bigger pieces here because when I marinate it in the dressing, it's gonna wilt down a little. I'm a kale whisperer. We're making kale fun again. Really? You thought you didn't need another kale salad? You were wrong. This is the only kale salad you'll ever need. And I'm not biased at all. This is completely impartial. It's not like this is my favorite kale salad or anything. Again, you could have definitely used a knife, but I just made the life choice not to. It's a lot more fun to tear it. Just gonna add my kale to my bowl. And this is where this dinner for one party gets really fun. I get to become a kale masseuse. I'm gonna add this dressing into my kale and just massage it so the dressing gets all up into the ridges of the kale. Pouring that dressing straight in there, okay? And now I'm just gonna use my hands, they are clean, and massage my kale. Massaging your kale is super important because it helps to break down those tough fibers in the kale, and it really gets the dressing all evenly coated inside the kale. Look at it! The dressing is already coating it super nicely and it's becoming even softer. Okay, I got a little bit too excited massaging the kale, so now I'm gonna go rinse my hands off. The kale has really had a nice massage. It's feeling super zen, so it's time to set it aside and I'm gonna prepare my add-ins. So I'm adding some tomatoes into the salad to add those really nice bursts of sweetness, and it's gonna complement both the kale and the dressing really nicely. You can use grape tomatoes here, you can use cherry tomatoes. I find that these are a lot nicer and sweeter, so that's why it's gonna be a great complement to this kale salad. That kale is so lucky though, got a super long massage. My favorite part about this kale salad is that you've got a lot of crunchy elements like these sunflower seeds and the croutons, and some creamy elements like these beans and avocado. So I'm gonna go ahead and dice my avocado. So pretty. To dice this, I'm gonna dice it in the skin. So I'm just going to create the dicing inside so it makes it a lot easier to scoop right out and into my salad. I'm creating little hashtags in honor of hashtag cooking, and then I'm gonna add it into my salad. Scoop it straight out. Make sure you get all the way to the peel, to the skin, so that you can remove the avocado easily, like so. Okay, this avocado is a bit resistant, it's fine. All right, another half. Now we're moving on to another creamy component, my beans. These are gonna be really delicious because they're gonna add some protein, but also be super velvety and creamy in the salad. Add these straight in. I'm using white beans or cannellini beans here, but you can use whatever bean you'd like. Now I'm gonna add some sunflower seeds for another crunchy textural element. I'm gonna reserve some for the top. You can even use pumpkin seeds here if you'd like. And finally, for my croutons. Perhaps the reason you're interested in the salad in the first place? So these guys? I won't tell. I'm like kind of there with you. I'm just kidding, I love everything in this salad. I'm gonna reserve some croutons for the top as well, just to get that crunchiness. Now I'm gonna toss. Now I'm just gonna toss my salad together. There's so many fun elements going on here. It's a very exciting salad. And it's kind of pretty too. You got the tomatoes, which are nice and bright. Avocado. To finish it off, I'm gonna add some sunflower seeds on top. We're a little bit about aesthetics here, not gonna front. And some croutons too. And this is my kale salad dinner for one, which also means that I can eat out of this bowl and no one's really gonna know or care because it's just me. This is such a glamorous kale salad. that I cannot eat it without taking a picture first. This will inspire any kale hater or kale skeptic to eat their kale, I promise. Just try it out. Now it's my turn to try it out. And even if I don't finish this all right now, this stores super well because it's just gonna marinate in its dressing for longer and get even more flavorful. Here I go. You just gotta get a little bit of everything. Some of the kale, the crouton, the tomato. Maybe it's too much for me to get a bit of everything, but I'm gonna try. Okay. I really am trying to get a bit of everything and it's not gonna work. Will it work? Okay. Here I go. Yeah. I mean, crunch from the sunflower seeds. Wait, I need a crouton. Really crunchy. So good. Can you hear that? You can hear that? You know what? I think there are gonna be a lot of kale converts after they try the salad.
We are back. I'm Anthony Contrino, and it is time to get saucy. We've got a brand new kitchen and new episodes coming your way this summer. Tune in to Today All Day, Mondays at 11 a.m.